Hey, how you doing? This is John, and welcome to John's Long Box. It's clobbering time. That's where we take a bunch of comic characters, battle them out with other comic characters. And since tonight is Kwanzaa, we tongue in cheek called it Sweet Christmas because of Luke Cage. Who's Mark Cage? And we're gonna do like black characters. So Marcus is with his family tonight. So anybody wants to be my co-host, pop on. I hate talking to myself. So here it is, the link, if anybody wants to pop in. Matt, you want to come in? You still there? Zactan is here. I am having a blessed day. It's filibuster a bit. But first, Luke Cage finally got some respect when he's brought on to the Avengers. Matt, you here tonight? I need a co-host. Lucas. What is wrong with my brain? Marcus is with his family, his sons and his in-laws. So I am having a blessed day. My wife and I woke up. We went to my favorite place, a little diner down the road. It's owned by I think they're Ecuadorians, and it's I don't know if it's like ethnic food or whatever you call it, because they got steak and eggs and hamburgers and whatever, but it's just the way they cook is so freaking good. It is so good. Come on in, Arkham. Good. And so we went there. We had pupusas, and then I had a shiitake mushroom and egg sandwich. Oh my god, it was so good. And then my wife gets just a ground beef burrito, and it is like the size of an infant. It is so good. She eats half of it and gives me the other half, so it's good. And then I came home, took a nap, and then I had a dream. I don't know why I'm talking about this, but I had a dream that Hillary Clinton was breaking into my house, and I had to load my shotgun in a hurry. And I woke up loading the shotgun. How silly is that? I don't know. Hillary Clinton's breaking into my house. Just her, too. It wasn't like she had armed thugs or anything. It was just her. I'm like, no, get thee back, Satan. So those of you who may or may not know, it is snowing in New York. We're having like the first winter storm all day long. Snow advice. So my wife and I were like, let's go food shopping. We'll go to the diner. We'll get all that stuff out of the way. And man, the supermarket was absolutely packed. And I don't know if you. I'll see if I could show you from my ring cam live view. But can you see? There's just snow everywhere, and it just activates something primordial in my wife. She is outside with a shovel already. She's from Canada. She loves the snow. It's like you remember when Captain Jack Sparrow stepped on the island and it sent out like a signal. You know, that's what happens. The first snowflake hits the ground, sends a signal. My wife goes. She already shoveled, even though it just started, and then she went and cleaned the entire house. She put up Christmas lights. She put up a Christmas tree over there. It's just, it's just the way, it is. I guess when you're Canadian, you love the snow. It's Omnipro B. How you doing, Omnipro? I hate that YouTube shows after the at. So I call that the last name. I want to see the first names. How you doing, Garfield's Bizarre Adventure? Yeah, I'm warm. What did you get for Christmas? I'm filibustering until people show up before we start talking about the topic. But for Christmas, I got work boots. And my wife got. It's funny because when I buy work boots, I just want sturdy composite toe work boots. I don't think, but my wife takes everything into consideration. She got me some nice work boots, like they're good looking. They're Timberlands, but insulated. I can't wait to throw out my old boots. And then she got me these insulated sock slippers because this is the basement, and I just put the pergola flooring on the ground, so it's on cold concrete. So my feet are always cold. So I got these warm sock slippers. When your feet are warm, you're warm. So I'm having a blessed day. I am having a blessed day. So there you go. After this talk, I'm going to go and eat the rest of the burrito. And you're going to laugh, but that's okay. You could laugh. I'm going to go make whipped cream. Whipped cream is my favorite dessert. Just whipped cream. So I'm going to make fresh homemade whipped cream later on tonight, and I'll listen to Lord Raptor Jesus' newscast because it's going to be nuts. Because for those of you who follow the comics gate drama, I asked, where's this Wizard magazine or Warlock magazine? I saw. I mean, I knew it was a puff piece for Comics Gate. I mean, I'm not stupid, but he kept talking about, John Malin pages 1 to 4, or Billy Tucci pages 3. So I thought it was a real magazine. So I was like, oh, cool. Somebody in Comics Gate is actually publishing something physical. I want to check this out. So I asked, where can I get a copy? Oh, it's been the subject of 9 hours of trash cast and insults. They're calling me a Jew, Irish Catholic school kid. So it's funny. Anybody who says anything like that, I'm reporting them for anti-Semitism. I just think it's funny. Let's see them get blocked for anti-Semitism. Not yet. The new mayor isn't in effect yet. That's January, I think 6th is when they officially change. But he did hire a big fat lesbian to be the chief of police. So, she's going to be the chief of fire department. So there we go. That's be good, because that's what's important. When you want to be rescued, you want proper pronouns. So I'm throwing out a life. I hate talking by myself like this. So anybody want to come in and we'll talk. Where's Tony? Tony, come on in. Anybody want to come in? Just have your camera on. And as I asked for a guest, I got a guest. Oop, let's equalize here because nobody's the star. We're both stars. Although Arkham is a superstar. How you doing, Arkham?
Good. Let me mute some things going on in the background. Sorry about that. And
it's okay.
Get all ready. How was your Christmas?
Good. My Christmas was real good. Like I said, the weather was nice. It was a little too sunny. Like you want Christmas to be a little snowy. And then,
a little snowy, yeah.
We drove to my Christmas Eve. My wife made the greatest lasagna I've ever had in my life. Oh God, it was so good, so nice. Good. So glad. I just asked her this morning how much lasagna is left, and she said most of it. That's
so lasagna. Now, honestly, most for me, anyways. Most Italian-based food is always better the day after. Well, really gives those a chance for the other ingredients to absorb flavor.
And really, because she said, taste the sauce. Is this sauce any good? So the sauce was absolutely perfect. Then she says, okay. So she cooked the sauce, and then she was going to do everything else. And so we were going to eat in a couple of hours. And oh my God, I just smelled like garlic. She's like, I think I put too much garlic. I was like, no, you put the perfect amount. It is awesome. And so I'm
a garlic hound too.
So we ate that. And then I had another bit later on that night. And it was better that night. And then Christmas Day, I went to my niece's house who cooks. But all I wanted was lasagna. So I purposely didn't eat a lot at my niece's house. And then I went home. I was like, oh, I want more lasagna. So it was the next day. It was, you're absolutely right. It was just so much better. So much better. And you know what else is so much better? Oh, Tony. How you doing, Tony?
Hey. Hi, guys.
Tony.
How was your Christmas, Tony?
It was all right. It was pretty good. Unfortunately, somebody hit my dog, so I had to bury him in the rose garden. But sorry, other than that, it's all right.
That big beautiful dog got killed?
Yes.
Oh my God, I'm so sorry to hear that. Oh,
that's all right. It's okay.
When I was in Turkey, I had a little black cat named Gremlin that I absolutely loved. She was like it was as if a cartoonist drew a female cat. Like she had like a female figure. She had like long eyelashes that came to a point, and her ears went up, and she had these little tips on. She was just so female, And if ever I brought a girl over, she would just stare at the girl. And then when I would look at her, she would turn her head like this. She was just like the most jealous little thing, and then she would just like flirt with all the guys going in between their legs. But little black cat, somebody ran her over on Halloween, and I refuse to think it was an accident.
Yeah, people are disgusting.
Especially
when it comes to black cats. I don't get it.
That broke my heart. I love that cat, So my heart goes out to you, man.
Oh, thank you, sir. I didn't mean to bring the mood down.
That's okay. That dog was beautiful. Do you think it was an accident or?
It might be. My parents live next to a what I think is like a crack house kind of a deal. So it might have been one of those idiots. They drive their cars really, really fast through the. They almost hit a kid a couple of months ago, a little girl. So I think it might be them, but I don't know. But other than that, yeah, it was fine. We had a nice dinner and all that, and yeah, it was pretty good. Went to church and whatnot.
Oh man, what's your dog? What's your dog's name?
Her name was Goldie.
I'm so sorry to hear about
Oh,
that.
it's all right. It's okay. Thank you.
It's not okay, but you're being a champ about it. But man, a dog is a part of the family. A cat is a part of the family, and we had to put Winnie to sleep like over a year ago. And she got fat, but she was always fat. But we knew there was a problem when she just didn't want to eat anymore. So we took her to the vet, and the vet's just like, she's just filled with tumors. There's nothing. So they said, just make her comfortable and you'll know. And then she just lay down and just wouldn't get up. Like we would pick her up and bring her to the room. So we had a vet come to the house and put it. And my wife is hysterical crying, but I keep saying that was the best possible ending. Like I was bringing up Gremlin. Somebody ran over Gremlin. You know what I mean? Like, cats.
How old was the cat when she got diagnosed?
15, 16.
Yeah. That's one thing that scares me is like with Lady, she literally one of those adopted human kind of situations. I just come home from work and this senior cat would that I've seen across the street in neighbors' yards, just start greeting me every day. And then one day she was just really lethargic. And I'm like, no, you're coming in. It's winter's coming. This was last year. She's been in my house for a year now. And I'm like, you're not going to survive this winter. So I took her in, got her better and stuff like that. And she's 12. So I'm like, oh man, if I could have met her 8 years ago or something like that, So I have no idea what's going on internal for her because I can't afford like a full exam for a stray cat. That's my biggest fear. It's like, not knowing. With my other girls, they're 2. I have another 15 years with them. You know what I mean? With her, I have no idea. It could be a year. It could be 5 years. I'd rather know. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. I mean, I always say this. Well, we have 3 cats, all from the same litter. Mm. And Thor and Lucy are still spry. They're still running around. They still fight. The only thing now is I'm noticing they don't jump on the bed. They climb up on the bed. So, but, Winnie was always chubby. And like George Carlin said, a pet is a time release tragedy. It's going to. We just want the bed to be as far away as possible. I mean, getting hit by a car. I mean,
oh, dude, when I found, I'm not going to trauma dump, but because it is still Christmas season, I'm with you, especially if you end up finding them in a condition that will never leave your mind again.
Yep.
That sucks.
Yeah. I that's what I said. When I win the lottery, that it's a ranch in Idaho and it's just all the animals like right now we got 3 stray cats that live in our bushes, or not even stray, they're ferals. But one of them, the ear is already clipped when we found it. One we had to rescue, get the ear clipped, and they there's 3 of them. We got a little house. They all climb in and snuggle on each other for warmth. And we tell them, don't leave the property. Stay here. You're safe here. And they're getting closer and closer to coming in the house. So that's what we want to do. We want them to come in the house.
Oh yeah. I will never have an outdoor cat again living so close to a busy intersection. There's no way. Never.
I don't want to talk about that, but I don't know. I guess we'll change the subject, but man, sure. Totally, I feel for you.
Thank you so much, John. Thank you.
A pet is
his family.
It's family. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. So, anything anybody want to talk about before we get started? Oh, although we do have a bunch of people here.
No, I've just seen I had a very good conversation with the CGer a couple days or today actually. It was a polite conversation. I was very not proud. I was very pleased seeing somebody that admittedly is into the CG bracket and is still buying from them. Of course, obviously, he did mention about the 5-year wait, and he's not happy about that. So he only buys from the orbiters of CG. I'm like, okay, that makes sense. He's like when I was talking about the talent pool and the lack of professionalism. He's okay. What about individual 1, 2, and 3? I said you are absolutely correct. Those people I don't consider CG. I consider them orbiters, right? That go over there and talk with them, and it's fish in a bucket. You're going to always shoot those same fish every time you go into that bucket. It's easy money over there in that aspect. And we just had a great discussion. It probably went like,
that's good.
Not compared to most of them. Like me and some of those guys, we'll just go to blows. I mean, physically we saw each other. I know there's a couple over there it would happen. But me and this gentleman, after we start off a little rocky, and then we explained ourselves a little bit. Fantastic conversation.
That's good because I asked one question, and
I know I saw that.
So Tony, I saw this Warlock magazine rates Billy Tucci Man of the Year and stuff like that, and it said pages 1 to 4, Billy Tucci, pages 6 to 7, Graham Nolan, and I just got Graham Nolan's Escape to Monster Island, so I was like, I want to see what Graham Nolan has to say. So it said page numbers. I mean, I knew this was a hand job towards CG. You know what I mean? I wasn't stupid, but I at least thought it was a physical magazine because it mentioned pages. So I said, where can I get a copy of this magazine? And oh my God, Shane Davis goes, why are you so hateful? Why are you so miserable? I was like, I'm just asking for a freaking magazine, and then next thing you know, Shane Davis does a 4-hour trash cast about me. And then on Christmas, so that was Christmas Eve. Then on Christmas, EVS does a 5-hour trash cast about me because I asked, and it's just, and they're calling me a dirty Jew, silenced Jew, because they think I'm Jewish. So I just think it's funny. I just reported all.
Even if you were Jewish, what difference does that make?
But it's so funny how they just make up stuff and then attack. You know that post that Eric July said the internet is just people making up stuff about you and then attacking the misrepresentation forever. He goes, right. He's absolutely true. So I think it's funny. So I just want to say this: I'll accept everything. Okay, I'm everything they say they am. I broke my neck. I'm broke, and I'm Jewish, and I'm still putting out product. So why can't you? And I'm a hobbyist. So where are you?
And on a timely manner.
Where are you pros right now? Okay, this broke Jew over here is putting out product. Okay, but anyway, I just got a kick. I reported them all for anti-Semitism. It's not often that a Irish Roman Catholic gets to report people for anti-Semitism. But
that's terrible. That's absolutely rotten. I'm sorry, John.
Don't apologize. Like I said, and then one guy goes, "You love being a victim." I'm like, I cannot be a victim. You guys are impotent to cause any damage.
Exactly.
Somebody asked me, it's like, oh, EVS was like, well, maybe we should have promoted him more. And I'm like, dude, promoting me or not promoting me would have gotten the same exact results. Name anybody besides the Kings who are still making comic books right now that were promoted by EVS. There's 25 people watching. Somebody in the chat. Somebody that was promoted by EVS that's still making comic books. That's not a king. Who wasn't a pro beforehand. So there you go. It's worthless. So anyway, there you go. Katie did. You're welcome. Merry Christmas. There's your clip.
There's your clip of the week.
you'll be able to buy your meth for the week. There you go. Put another wig on. There you go. Get some dog chow. Send that over to EVS. EVS, you're welcome. You'll get super chats, although those are dwindling. There you go. There you go. Are we engaging in pro-Semitism? Yeah, I got no problem with Jews. I got no problem with Jews. They're people. They're individuals. Also, hi, John. How you doing? Punished SSP Garrett. It just drives me nuts that we got the last names to the first names. But the broke part is evidence of the Irish heritage versus the Jewish one. There you go. Yeah, there you go. Not broke though, so there you go.
Well, I'll take the broke Irish, half of me anyways, because I'm
Yeah.
half broken.
I need a loan. John, I heard you were the guy to help. Yeah, there you go, Batzel. Oh, speaking of which, since I'm Jewish and I see other people doing PayPal, johnslongbox@yahoo.com. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. So
I mean, work it in, right?
yeah, we might as well. And Happy New Year, everybody. Yeah.
Happy New Year.
Next year we'll do a New Year stream. And this is my promise. Next year, I'm getting it all out now. Next year, I'm not talking about CG anymore. These people need me more than we need them because they are so bankrupt that nobody cares about their IPs. Nobody cares about their comics because they don't come out, that they need to talk about their enemies. They need to whip up. They need to tilt windmills in order to drum up funds. So the only way or the worst way to hurt these jerk-offs is to just not talk about them. Not talk about them. Hey, Matt, come on in. We need people. Come on in, Matt. We'll maybe talk about our project a little bit. Come on in, Matt. So I'll throw the link in here. So there you go. So kill them, starve them out. You know what I mean?
There's something on the positive side. Do you want to see a splash page I'm doing for my book?
Sure. Yeah. I am the Gentile Jew. There you go.
I don't know if you can see it very well. It's just the ship coming into dock onto a port. A little blurry.
Oh, it's great, man. That's beautiful.
That is cool. Yeah.
It's
I told my wife that you said you were going to send her that picture that she likes.
Mhm.
She got all nervous. She goes, I can't color that. That's going to be the original art. I said, we'll take it down and we'll scan it.
Yeah,
And then-
scan it and put it on a different piece of paper and color it that way.
You know, we'll put a frame around the original art. She'll start. Oh, man. Don't tell me.
The paper that it's on is actually watercolor paper.
But now we're going to have two people collecting original comic book art. Oh, God.
I think honestly, if I was more financially situated, I'll say that that's where kind of my collecting money, because my comic buy list is so small these days, right? Other than like indies who I can support here and there. I think that if instead of spending say $1,600 on a Iron Man 88 9.6, right? Why not go get some original art? There's only going to be one copy of that, especially if it's an artist that you like. Buy OG art.
There's a place near me called Retro Collectibles,
Mm-hmm.
and they got old furniture, they got old tools, they got 8-tracks, cassette album. You know, it's one of those kind of flea market type places. And of course, they got stacks of comics, you know, dollar bins and stuff. But one place, it's got a stack of original artwork, and I never even looked at it because I'm like, that's trouble. That's dangerous.
That is trouble.
So, but I think I'm gonna go. I think I'm gonna go look at it. Knowing me, it's gonna be gone. It's gonna be gone. But it can't be anything super big. You know, you're not gonna find Alex Ross or Jack Kirby. You know what I mean?
I'll send you my where I find a lot of original art for some decent prices.
Okay.
Most of them are not art websites. Most of them are like link to link, and then you're like, oh, I know who these people are, and they're 100% legit. And like, of course, one of them being Heritage, but you're going to pay for Heritage. But
go ahead. I was just thinking this. So Arkham is drawing a story for me. It's based on Greek mythology. So that means to me that you're my ancient go-to guy. So I had an idea of maybe every year making like a half-size comic book and putting it out by Christmas. So I was talking to Renzo. The first one is going to be King Fu, Blue Christmas. Okay? And it's going to be a King Fu solo story.
Aren't you? I thought you had another, without saying the plot. I think you've spoiled it before, but it's not my place to do so again.
Well, I was thinking. Well, I also came up with another story called The Magi, and it's the Magi going to Bethlehem. Would you be interested in drawing that?
Yeah, either one. Of course, my style is much different than Lorenzo and everybody else who.
No, Renzo's got King Fu. He's got King.
Yeah. I was like, I couldn't do. King Fu very well.
This
But
is just it, though. Is Renzo is he's going to do the King Fu story, and we're going to try to get it done so that it'll be in people, the physical comic book will be in people's hands by a day, a year from yesterday. So you would have 2 years to do your story.
Then that's easy. That's super easy.
So I didn't write it yet, but it's all up here. I thought up the ending and everything. So I'm going to write it with your style in mind. It's going to fit the world building into my world for the story of the Magi, and then the year after that, Renzo.
But didn't you have your origin story?
That's a whole nother. That's like a big project. So
that's a big project. I thought you wanted that for Christmas.
Project. So that'll be ready when it's ready. But I will try, even if it's done early, I'll hold it so that it'll come out by Christmas.
Gotcha.
But then 3 years from now, I want to do the Patriarch meets Santa Claus, and that'll be a Renzo story. So that's my 3 Christmas stories planned, plus the big origin of Santa Claus. For a Jew, I think a lot about Santa Claus and Christmas. But I'm gonna write it. So give me about a month. I'll send you. So, but the reason why I'm giving you time is that one's on a schedule. Yeah,
right. That one. Your books are ready. Like I just have to. I already have them scanned all the way page 6. Right, so that's already 1/3 of the way through. I just got to go in there and erase mistakes and redo some of the details and work stuff to make it more professional looking. And you've seen several of those pages already, right?
Yeah.
So the fight scenes when you have monsters and I don't have to worry about human physiology and appearance, I can work on just action and background. Those out.
Yeah. The husband and wife talking to each other, I think, is
that's the hardest parts for me. The slow, nothing's going on for me to draw to make them look animated and make them look real instead of just
play
robots standing still.
See, those scenes you could cheat a little bit and play with the darkness of the cave.
I am doing that until they hit the light. Once they hit the light, then I want their bodies.
Also, when they hit the light, there's also more shadows. You know what I mean?
There is, but I'm letting Oscar play with the shadows.
And speaking of Oscar, how you doing, Oscar? Merry Christmas. Hope you're doing well. Good to see you.
Oh, is that our colorist, Oscar?
This is Oscar, the colorist, right here.
Oh, perfect timing. Hey, Oscar.
Oscar is so. You got to see the colors that he did for the Punchline story. I spoiled a couple of pages because I just couldn't contain myself. They are so. Oscar, your colors are so good. It's so good. And what I like about Oscar is I'll tell him, okay, this is the way I want you to do it. And he goes, no, I'm not doing it that way. That way would be stupid. I'm doing it this way. And I'm like, but I'm the boss here. And then he colors it his way. And I'm like, yeah, you're right. Because
it is his bag. Oscar, I'm going to grab
it's supposed to be white and gold. He goes, no. He goes, it's going to be like Iron Fist. It's going to be golden green. I was like,
perfect. I'm going to grab a page so Oscar can look at it and see if he wants me to add more shadows or if he wants to add the shadow contours himself. Okay. Right back.
Yeah, Oscar's the best. And he's fun to talk to. So Tony, we got 3 people on. Matt, if you're here, Matt, come on in and I'll throw out the link again. Anybody wants to pop, and then we'll get into our talks. I showed you this already, right? I showed you. I just got this.
Oh, nice! The Living Shadow. Yeah. Nice.
And I got.
Nice.
And I also the Scarlet Pimpernel.
Oh, that one's great. That one's really good.
Scarlet Pimpernel first because it's like the first costumed character. Like arguably, this is like the first superhero, even though he doesn't have superpowers. It's got all the tropes. He puts on a mask. He puts on he's like the foppish playboy during the day, so that nobody suspects that he's the Scarlet Pimpernel at night. And interestingly enough, it was written by a woman. So you can argue that like the superhero genre, there was always girls. So shut up, all
by a baroness, I believe. Yes.
I'm sorry.
By a baroness.
Yes,
or a countess. Baroness.
Baroness. I'm not Orchi.
Yeah, Brzezinski. Yeah, I remember. It's really good. The book goes fast. Very good.
There's no pictures in this. I can forget it.
Speaking of Baroness, you guys are both watched Game of Thrones, correct?
Correct.
Okay. You know maybe not the name, but you know of the actress that plays Melisandre, correct?
Correct.
Redhead, beautiful. So I got to meet the cast of Game of Thrones at San Diego Comic-Con a couple years ago, and I'm doing the roulette, going to signing, and I got the actor, I want to say Cooper, the one that played the Onion Knight, Melisandre, and then Arya. Malaise, is her actress's name? I forget.
She's beautiful. Talk about a show filled with beautiful women.
Oh yeah,
the woman who played the Red Witch,
Melisandre.
She is just beautiful.
Well, wait till I tell you about the flirting. So I'm talking to Lord Davos, right? And I'm in my full Night's Guard, my Night's Watch regalia, and gray, bald. He looks up from the signing. He looks up and goes, "Holy shit, it's me!" And he goes, "Yeah, but just a little younger." And the actress who plays Melisandre goes, "Yeah, and a lot prettier." And I just blushed. I swooned. I looked like a child. And I talked with her, and all three of us started bantering back and forth, just spitfiring, and we were laughing our asses off to the point where the guards had to come and tap me on the shoulder because other people were waiting. And they're like, "Oh, well, it's nice meeting you," stuff like that. And I turn around and walk off, right? The actress for Arya looks at me and goes, "Excuse me, you forgot somebody." And I'm like, "Holy shit, I am so sorry." And I had to turn around and walk back. She goes, "It happens all the time." She's so small. And she's right next to the giant red-headed goddess that played Melisandre. And the reason why I went into that story is because she's actually in real life an opera singer and a baroness. I was
really?
aware of that. Yeah, she has some pretty deep bloodline. And I'm like, you're that gorgeous, that talented, and you can sing and you're royalty.
I know sometimes it's just not fair.
Right?
Hey, Matthew, how you doing?
Oh, okay.
Hello.
How's it going?
Oh, I'm doing okay.
That's the signing.
Let me see.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Oh, cool.
I heard rumors,
Uh-huh.
and I'm sure they're crap, that they're going to redo the last season of Game of Thrones.
That's something they're talking about.
I don't know how I feel about that. Like, they're going to get all the same actors, you know what I mean? Like,
I think it's dead in the water. I think it's a
it
lot
never
of
happened. I don't know. I'm too much of a continuity freak. How you doing, Pops? How you doing, Pops? You want to come in? You want to come in? Sometimes all bread actually works. A little bit of lottery. Unless you're the King of England right now. Tell me that guy's not a Muslim.
Right.
King Charles. Oh, I scared away. Sorry, Matthew.
Muslim, no, I gotta run. I might be right back. I'm gonna try to switch cameras and see if I get something with
Okay.
a little bit more high definition to show Oscar some work and see if he wants me to add shadow or if he wants to do the color gradient from the gold light.
Okay, we got a bunch of people. We got a full panel. I kind of like 4. I find that we start talking over each other once we get like. Last night I was on a panel with 9 people and I drank way too much coffee and I just talked over everybody. I apologize, Iron Oxide. If
Do I need to leave?
No. 4 is fine, Matthew. By the way, Matthew, how did your Kickstarter go? How's everything?
Well, I got 11 followers on the new one.
Oh, okay, that's good. I mean, we got Knife School in the chat. How you doing, Knife School? Knife School did he did the variant cover for the I Love a Mystery, the Public Eye story that Marcus is drawing. Marcus is nowhere near done, but it's good to know that I have a cover already done. I kind of like having a lot of stuff done beforehand, so then it's just less stuff to worry about. Like I got a lot of random things done for a bunch of comics, beforehand. So it's it'll help smooth it out when push comes to shove. What does that tend to say? Yeah, even we Americans would wish that they could live Brits had a British mom. Yeah, I know. Well, he is British, but he's Muslim, is my opinion. The more clean the line is, the more I can play with the colors. Okay, we'll bring that back when Arkham actually comes back. Oh, speak of the devil, here comes Arkham now. but his camera's not loading, so we have to wait for the camera to load. So Matthew, this is going to be your second Kickstarter now?
Actually, I think it's the third or fourth, I think.
Have you tried Fund My Comic too?
I will if this one don't work.
Okay, because I'm about to launch another campaign on Fund My Comic. It's going to be just a merchandise campaign, so all my stuff in one easy to find place, and that'll be constantly open. Fund My Comic, if my memory is serving me correctly, allows you to have 2 open campaigns. Now, I had Heroic Tales 1, but that's fulfilled, so that is neutral. You know what I mean? That doesn't count against it, and that's actually closed. So, and then Heroic Tales 2 right now is currently open. I'm going to keep that open because I bought an ad in King Cryptid issue 13 for Alterna Comics. I just liked Alterna Comics. Alterna Comics introduced me to so many people that I wanted to pay something back to Pete Sabetti. So I bought a full page ad, and it has a QR code that brings you to that page. If I could get my new campaign page ready and everything, I'll see if Pete could edit that ad, and then I'll close down. But you understand why I'm going to have 2 campaigns open at the same time. So there you go. And it's going to just be all merchandise, T-shirts, comics, cards. I'm going to have everybody got 3 cards, but I made 4 cards for every campaign. So I'm going to have like a 4-card, get the missing card package, series 1, get the missing card package, series 2, things like that.
Oh, I just dropped a link to my preview for my comic.
Okay, we'll throw that in here, and we'll bring up your
If
campaign.
someone asked what it is.
Yeah, Global Comics: The Night Slayer. We'll give you a little bit of time to talk about it, and then we'll get into tonight's battle. What just happened? Okay, StreamYard is acting very weird tonight. I apologize to everybody.
It did it all by itself, I guess.
Okay, well, it there we go. There we go. Okay. And somebody else just sent me Steve Barone. I got your download. I downloaded your comic. I did not get to read it yet. I will read your he asked me to read it. I said yes, I will read it. Okay, this is driving me crazy. StreamYard, what is going on? Okay, here we go.
Are you stuttering or what's going on?
I clicked on his link, and it was like pulsing. So I don't know if the storm is messing with my internet. So if I disappear, it's because of the snowstorm. There we go.
The internet was freezing earlier.
Yeah, I think the storm in my area is messing up. So this looks really well done. The Knights, I love that cover. That cover looks awesome. The Night Slayer number 1. How do you like Global Comics?
So far, I like it. I've only had 2 premium, two people actually paid me, and I don't think they paid me anything though. But I've gotten a whole bunch of people looking at it, which is good.
Yeah.
As you can see, I've had over 669, I think, people read the pages, which is pretty good.
Yeah. Read like I don't see a purchase button. Oh, read.
That's
I guess
because the book isn't done yet.
Oh, okay. All right, that makes sense then. Okay.
We were planning to release 1 page a week, every Friday. But this Friday, my letterer is sick, so we can't finish this one's page.
All right, so there you go. Check out the Night Slayers on Global Comics or on Kickstarter soon, right?
Yeah, it's
right,
we plan to launch March.
Okay. I thought there was more coming out. Okay, so check it out in March. Come back and let me know before you launch. I'll try to help you out. So today is Kwanzaa, so we thought it would be cheeky to have it's clobbering time among Black superheroes. So we're gonna stick to good guys, and we'll pick your champions and we'll just bash it out. So I guess we'll start with Tony. You always give us a good, thoughtful analysis. Do you have a character in mind?
The oldest character that's Black African American character that I can think of.
I mean, he could be French character. You know what I mean? As long as he's a superhero, he doesn't have to.
I thought we were doing the Kwanzaa thing. Yeah, I thought we were doing like that kind of thing. But
Yeah.
I'll just throw mine out there. How many here know Mandrake the Magician from Lee Falk?
Yeah.
Everybody? Okay. Well, his best friend, right-hand man, and personal bodyguard is a 6'4" African gentleman by the name of Lothar.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. So
I've heard that name.
yeah, so he is the oldest, to my knowledge, the oldest black character that appeared in a comic book prominently next to a white guy. I know everyone's going to say Black Panther, everyone's going to say Blade, and da-da-da-da. I think I thought I'd go a little bit more obscure.
Okay.
There
So
he is. That's him.
I never heard of this character. So that. See, this is why I like talking to you. You always educate me about stuff. So this is a legit Golden Age character then.
Yes, he debuted in syndication in 1934.
Wow. So this is a pulp character then.
No, it's a comic strip created by Lee Falk, the creator of The Phantom.
Oh, I thought the Phantom debuted in pulps.
No, he was a comic strip character.
Like in the
It
newspaper.
reminds me of someone. I can't remember who. Maybe Michael Jordan?
I'm sorry?
The guy on the screen looks kind of like, I think, Michael Jordan.
Yeah, he looks like Eddie Murphy. He looks like Eddie Murphy from Coming
That
from
mustache.
Yeah.
Okay. That makes sense.
Well, he has the fez, so I'm assuming, Tony, I haven't read any of this with the leopard print. I'm sure he's North Saharan.
Yeah,
Middle Eastern.
Exactly. And they never really talked about where Mandrake and him met, but he's an equal. I know a lot of people will say, "Oh, white guy telling a black guy what to do." Da da da. No, it was an equal relationship, like the Lone Ranger and Tonto. It was they were friends. And
the concept of sidekicks really is like I would think, and I'm sure I'm wrong, came about like the late 50s, 60s, because these 30s and 40s characters, they were equals. Like the Spirit, Ebony was really the sidekick of the Spirit, even though the Spirit had the name, because Ebony was like the smart one of he was more streetwise and everything like that. He helped just as much as as the Spirit. Without Ebony, he would have failed. Like Robin to me was a sidekick. He was the apprentice learning. To me, that's the definition of a sidekick. Like, I have an apprentice electrician. I have a kid who I laugh because he's 30 years old, but I guess that's just what we call apprentices. And he's learning the craft. He's my sidekick. You know what I mean? But like my partner at work, the other guy who's 45 years old, he wouldn't be my sidekick because I'm not teaching him. Does that make sense? The difference between a sidekick and a partner?
Yeah, I always saw the Robins as being they're learning on the job.
Right.
They're apprentices, like you said, exactly. They weren't sidekicks. Yeah.
So I know nothing about this character.
Well, he's an interesting one, right? Because he is described as the strongest man in the world, right? He is invulnerable to any weapon forged by man and is impervious to heat and cold and possesses the stamina of 1,000 men. He can also not be harmed by magic directly, like force bolts and spells and stuff like that. And he could like easily lift an elephant with one hand.
All right. So not directly. So like what? Like you could
if you throw a spell at him, it'll sort of bounce back. You have to hit him indirectly. Hit
a lightning bolt to the tree and a piece of bark hits him in the head.
Exactly. But even that wouldn't stop him because the guy's he's like Black Superman. The last thing I heard about him, because the publication I don't even know if any of these characters are still being published in the comic strips. I don't even know if there are any comic strips anymore. I haven't read a paper in years. But I do know that I think it was Dynamite or Boom. They tried to bring back the Lee Falk characters. And for some odd reason, they replaced the Phantom with Lothar. So the Lothar was the Black Phantom, I guess. And they gave him a white girl sidekick, who I believe, if I remember correctly, because I only read the first issue once and I put it away, she was a little white lesbian girl.
Of
So
course.
they tried to go progressive for the Phantom relaunch.
Yeah, we love these characters. We want to bring them back, but we're going to change everything about them. That
Exactly.
because they really don't like these characters.
Hmm.
That's a cooler picture, I think. That. Oh wow! Do you think this is an inspiration? Well, my pick was going to be Luke Cage. Do you think this is an inspiration for Luke Cage? I mean, look at the yellow shirt.
Possibly, I know that Fred Gardenier stole Zatara from Mandrake the Magician.
Yeah, they do.
You know, so, mhm.
Yeah, the realistic style is amazing. Lothar is nuts. Yeah, this is more of an older picture. The picture that I just took, I think, was more recent. But I know Mandrake. To me, he's the stereotypical or the prototype of this hero magician or archetype.
Mhm.
I was thinking of. What's his name? Zatara, even Sargon. You just changed the top hat to a turban.
Yes.
And I will say that I'm working on a story right now where there's the villain Presto is basically Mandrake, except he's in his 90s. So, he's going to be in a wheelchair with an oxygen mask from years of smoking those cigarettes on the stems. Back in the 40s, they told you cigarettes were healthy.
Hell, Fred Flintstone used to do commercials for him.
Right. So Lothar. So how did he get his powers?
They never said, but later on they implied that it was they were given to him by a shaman of his tribe, and they were augmented by Mandrake himself. He spoke very little, very very little. He was sort of the strong silent type. Like I said, I don't know the status of the character now outside of the fact that he was promoted to be the Phantom. Personally, I think that all the continuity of Mandrake and the Phantom sort of died with Lee Falk back in 2001, I believe, is when he died.
Yeah. I remember. What was it? Gold Key Comics or Dell?
The Gold Key.
Yeah, Gold Key. I remember the Gold Key comics that I had as a kid. There was a kid across the street from me, and he was much older, and he gave me a box of comics. And at the time, all I cared about was Marvel superheroes. So when I got these comics, it was all Dell and Gold Key mixed together, like Star. I wish I kept these comics. I'm so mad at myself, but it had a lot of Flash Gordon, Phantom. And didn't have any Mandrake comics, but I just remember they had painted covers, and they felt waxy, like the cover material, the paper itself felt no other way to describe it, but waxy. And I just let them disappear because I was not really interested in them. I was like, thanks for the comic books. What am I going to do with this garbage? And I'm so mad that I did that. Same thing. People gave me collections of records that I'm just so mad that I gave them away or whatever. At the time, I was like, I don't want James Brown records or like big band records. Oh man, I would have killed to have them back now. Anyway, this is a cool pick. This is a character I knew nothing about. He sounds pretty tough, so I don't know. So I was going to pick Luke Cage. I might as well talk about Luke Cage, Power Man. He was falsely accused of a crime, but he wasn't necessarily a good guy. He was a street tough who did do bad things, but he just happened to get arrested for something that he didn't do. And it was a setup because the local troubled miscreant, he liked the same girl that Luke liked, so he got set up, and he went to Seacrest prison. And he's like, I got to get out before he gets my girl. I got to get out before. So in desperation, he volunteered for an experiment. It was later on they retroactively tied it into a reworking of the super soldier serum, which I think makes a lot of sense. It ties together a lot of loose ends. If you could make a Captain America through science and chemistry, you think the government's going to let that go away? they're gonna be working on that. So he got this injection. It turned his skin steel hard. And originally, he wasn't super strong. Originally, he was just his skin was so steel hard that when he punched, it was like getting punched. I mean, he was a big, strong guy, so he was stronger than the average bear, but he wasn't like Hulk or Thing type strength. He was just a powerful man with basically steel hard fists. And then because of that, he could lift up a car because his flesh would acted like an armor that would support him. And eventually, of course, power creep happens and he became super strong. But I remember originally he was a lot weaker than Spider-Man, but now he's probably in the class 100 strength, as they say in Marvel. And he was he got free. He broke out, changed his name because his original name. Oh, that's gonna drive me nuts. I forget what his original name was.
Lucas Carr.
Lucas what?
Carr with 2 R's.
Yeah, and he changed his name to Luke Cage. No, Carl Lucas, I think was his original name.
Maybe I'll look it up.
And he changed his identity and he started Heroes for Hire, where he was going to make money. And it's funny because a few times that all comics, DC had the I forget what they were called, but the Power Company. A few times the comic books come up with the idea of superheroes and capitalism, and it never works. The whole point of superheroism is altruism. And once you turn it to money, it kind of diminishes the concept of a hero. So like Luke, he had like this code. Like a little kid came up to him and asked him for a job. Like the kid gave him like a nickel. And he's like, okay, now, like he wanted to help the guy, but like he had to keep the premise up that he was getting paid. And then he meets Iron Fist, Danny Rand, who is a billionaire. So it's kind of funny that they had Heroes for Hire when they didn't need any money at that point. And he never really fit in. Like he was just like read the early Power Man comics. They were struggling. And then it was Power Man, Iron Fist. And it was originally Luke Cage, Hero for Hire. It's one of those comics that's difficult to find in my collection because I forget where I put them. Did I put them under Luke? Did I put them under Heroes for Hire? Did I put them under Power Man? The first 15 issues. So I think they're all Power Man and Iron Fist. Whatever, just so I can keep them in order. But that's besides the point. So now he was given the keys for no reason whatsoever because Brian Michael Bendis has a black fetish. He was just given the keys to the Avengers, and he became the Avengers. Now, I got no problem. Like if somebody like Wonder Man, who's been in the Avengers but this was a guy who was not in the Avengers too long. Like that to me, that's like elevating a character too fast. But he became like one. There was 2 Avengers teams. One that was in Tony Stark's tower. Like the team, like the movies, and then one in the mansion. And then he married the other Brian Michael Bendis character. Why can't I think of her name?
Gina?
The one who was captured by the Jessica Jones.
Yeah.
So they met, and now they have a kid. Interesting about Jessica Jones is she was supposed to be Jessica Drew. When Brian Michael Bendis pitched the series, it was going to be Spider-Woman. Now, think about it. Her first name is Jessica. They're both Jessicas. They're both private investigators. And they're both women with a lot of mental problems. If you read the original Spider-Woman, she didn't know what her past was. She didn't know if her father was a Hydra agent or if the Hydra agents were tricking her and everything. So, and I think once, like later on in the series, they were like, nope, we can't do this. He created Jessica Drew. And it turned out to be a windfall for him because now he gets creative credit for a woman with her own TV show. So there you go, Brian. The editors help you out.
You forgot one thing, John.
What's that?
That was the comic that Nicolas Cage took his acting name from.
Yes. I was going to bring that up, and then I distracted myself. Nicolas Cage, his real name is Nicholas Coppola, and he's the nephew of Francis Ford Coppola. And he changed his name to Cage just so he would be judged on his own merits, not be accused of nepotism. And he picked a superhero name because he's a comic book guy. You know, Nicolas Cage likes superheroes and he likes Elvis. So I'm hoping someday he finds out about King Fu and becomes my angel investor. Although he's broke, so that probably won't happen.
He's doing good now. He's had quite a few decent releases back to back, so I think he's out of that ditch.
Yeah, he married Lisa Marie Presley. Talk about getting the ultimate Elvis collectible.
Right.
He married Lisa Marie, and you know what she did? She made him get rid of his comic book collection. So they were married less than a year. He got rid of his comic book collection, but I think he kept like his big books. And then he's one of the people that has Action Comics #1, and it got stolen, and it was gone. So he got broke. He was so broke that he was taking any role for a long time. I think he got not that wife, but I think another wife took him to the cleaners in the divorce. And
then he had I think something like 16 million in back taxes that he had to make sure he got rid of really quickly because the IRS was on his ass.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
That's why he was dumb. He bought that T-Rex skull for like $1 million and some other stuff, Action Comics #1 and so forth, and didn't file taxes on any of that stuff. So they came after him. So that I found that out when he was starring in a film somebody I knew was producing. It was The Color Out of Space. If you guys saw that,
I loved it. It was a great adaptation.
Lovecraft adaptations, and Nicolas Cage was Nicolas Cage in that movie.
Oh, The Color Out of Space?
Yeah.
I love that movie, although it was creepier than I usually watch.
I have his screenplay for his next movie that obviously had but it's a Lovecraft film, and I have the full screenplay for it.
Oh, cool.
My producer buddy sent it to me. I read it, and I was just like, why could this not be a movie now? One of my favorite Lovecraft stories. But yeah,
was it canceled or what?
No, the man that did the original Color Out of Space, I forgot his name off the top of my head. He is the same director, if you know your film history, that did the remake of The Island of Dr. Moreau, where you had the two biggest egos.
Richard Stanley.
Yep. And they, with him relentlessly to the point he had to leave his own. He left Hollywood after that movie because it was.
That is a famous. That he quit. The director quit.
Yeah.
And then he snuck back into the set as an extra.
Mm-hmm. And Color Out of Space is his first movie since then.
Wow.
That's how long he was in hiatus.
That movie is an absolute disaster. That Val Kilmer, Brando, and it is a joy to watch how insane it is. I was dating a girl back in Albuquerque, and we were just like we couldn't believe how, because she was a big fan of Val Kilmer, and I like Val Kilmer too, but I was like excited to see Marlon Brando, and oh my god, we would just like open mouth like this movie is nuts. And then they had that little midget guy, and it was just they invented the Val Kilmer character. He's not even in the story, but Marlon Brando refused to get up. He's sitting in every scene, and literally had his scripts written in front of him, and he's just reading from the scripts. So they needed somebody to actually interact with the characters. So they invented the Val Kilmer, and then Val Kilmer's like, "Well, I'm going to be as weird as possible." And so Marlon Brando was like, They were fighting. It was. I recommend you watch it. It's not particularly good, but it is good. It's a good bad movie.
Kind of sounds like the original Super Mario Brothers movie.
It's not quite that bad, but it is bad.
Whatever happened to the sweet Ghost Rider money? I think, was Ghost Rider his only sequel? They didn't make a second National Treasure movie, did they?
Yeah, they did.
Oh, so National Treasure and Ghost Rider is only 2 sequels.
Yeah, but when you're only paid a couple $100,000 to maybe $1 million or $2 million per movie, when you owe $18 million, you got to do a lot of movies to pay back.
Yeah,
I mean, he wasn't a big paid actor at all. He didn't make a lot of money. He
Really?
starred in a lot of low budget stuff
Right.
because he didn't want to. As far I can't say he didn't want to, but he never presented himself as that untouchable star. He did a lot of low budget stuff, even when he had money. So I do give him that props.
Sorry, Oscar just sent me a new colored page.
Sweet.
So, the last thing I wanted to say about Nicolas Cage, which has nothing to do with Luke Cage, but except for a little name connection, is so his Action Comics got stolen. So this is Superman #1, and I don't know the condition of it, but this is a comic that's upwards of $7-8 million for one comic book, and it was recently returned to him because it's so rare. The insurance,
You can't lock it.
They take pictures and the marks on it.
Mhm.
You know, the people who stole it obviously knew to keep it untouched. You know, don't wrinkle it or anything like that. Each crease is going to decrease it by $80,000. So they were very ginger with it. And when somebody tried to steal it, they took pictures of it, or the insurance company, they recognized it, and it got returned to him. So now that's a conundrum. If it was insured and he got the insurance money for it, and then it was returned, do you owe the insurance money back, or does the insurance
Hopefully.
that comic?
I don't know. That'd be a good question. I would not know.
You know, so there you go. So anyway, Luke Cage is mine. So what are his powers? He's invulnerable. Like, he's one of the more invulnerable heroes. Like, he's up there with Hulk and the Thing and Colossus as far as, like, I'll say natural invulnerability, in that he doesn't have to wear suits. He's dense. Like, I know it's like the black stereotype that he can't swim, but he's always joking that he can't swim because he's heavy with his steel skin. And then they elevated his strength. So originally he could struggle to lift a car, but now I'm sure he could, fist fight with Colossus and the Thing. So, but he can't fly. And I love the fact that Iron Fist was always kind of busting his chops that he wasn't flexible and he didn't move enough. And it made it realistic. Just before on Twitter, I was busting NDA Andrew. If you're in the chat, Angie, say hello. He created that character Blue Shift for Ripper Zine, and that's like a Flash character. And I was talking about my character, and I said the Go-Getter. What I like about my character, the Go-Getter, is that she has increased velocity. She could run really fast, but her reflexes are that of an athlete. Her agility is a 16 out of 18, so she's almost Olympic level, or she's Olympic level reflex, but so she doesn't have superhuman reflex. I like a limitation like that on a character. So when everybody says you have Superman fighting Patriarch, or Superman's going to beat the Patriarch. I like to have like a weaker scale of a superhero. It just makes it more interesting. Rather than an all-powerful. I have one all-powerful hero, but he has a weakness. I think that'll balance it out. Captain Atlas. You'll see him in Patriarch #1. So we'll go to Arkham next. So straight lines. Well, she could curve and turn and stuff like that, but she won't accelerate to her full speed unless she'll make a danger for herself. Matthew, you got a choice? Who are you gonna pick?
Oh, first off, I want to tell you that my book Beacon.
Yeah.
You were talking about characters who can run real fast but have a weakness.
Yeah.
My character Beacon, if she overexerts her heart, will collapse using super speed.
Same with me.
Even with her enhanced stamina.
Yes. Most construction workers have that same exact weakness.
Anyway, but as for who I would pick, Static Shock.
Oh, that's a good one. That's funny. This is the first electrical black guy. That's like
there's so many.
All the black guys have electrical powers. Static Shock. So tell us about Static Shock. I'll find a picture of him.
I mainly know him from the cartoon, but I know he was in a gang war, and it swallowed some experimental gas that allowed him and several people in the slums of Jersey to suddenly develop powers. he developed the ability to control and consume static electricity. He can use that electricity he consumes in order to use that weaponized blast, or he can like shield himself a little bit, I think. I don't remember for sure. And I know he can actually fly if he zaps certain metal objects and jumps on them. Yeah, like that disc.
It's a cool design. I really like it. The blue and yellow look so good, and it works so well for an electrical based superhero.
I mean, you can see a lot of the influence of Black Lightning in his design, though.
Yeah, I wonder if Tony Isabella created Black Lightning, and Tony Isabella is such, or as he goes by now, Jenny Isabella. He's now Jenny from the Block. You guys want to laugh? Go look up Tony Isabella, what he currently looks like right now.
Yeah,
it's laughably funny, but it looks as silly as it sounds. But he's really I don't like when you make a character for Marvel or DC. Marvel or DC owns your character, but for some reason he made such a stink about this character Black Lightning that he made it difficult for people to want to use this character. So here we got Zactan bringing up Black Vulcan was the first Black electrical based superhero. No, it was Black Lightning, but they wanted to use Black Lightning in the Super Friends, but Tony Isabella went nuts. So they created Black Vulcan. Okay, now we got what we wanted, and you're not getting paid or credited. So be careful.
Black Vulcan, a logical choice.
Well, Black Vulcan to me never made like. Black Vulcan should have like magma or crafting powers, right? Volcano, Vulcan, electrical powers. So I never liked the character because the name never fit to me, but he looked cool.
Black Bolt would be a cooler name.
Black Bolt, but unfortunately that was taken already by Marvel with the leader of the Inhumans. Another character whose name doesn't match his powers, but I still like him anyway.
He doesn't shoot bolts.
Right, Black Bolt doesn't use bolts, but like he
I know Black Bolt, but I never heard of Black Bolt.
Vulcan.
Black Vault. That's a good one. That is a good name, Black Vault. There you go. But I'm reluctant to make it a black electrical villain or hero because
if I did, his name would be redundant.
Right, but Black Vault is a good name. There you go. It's out in the ethers. Everybody, give Matthew Craigie credit for. There you go. Put it in your book. Black Vault. That's a good one.
That's one of the probably the only character from Milestone Media that ever was popular enough to cross over.
Right.
No matter how much they tried to push the rest of them, he was, and he was the only one I think that was the closest. They were all black versions, pastiches of white characters. Like Hardware was a black version of Iron Man. Icon was a black version of Superman, and so on. But this one, I think the closest you could get was Spider-Man. Maybe because he was a teenage superhero. Yeah.
Static is the Miles Morales of Black Lightning. Kind of.
I think I like Static more than Miles Morales.
I gotta say, I don't think there's a person on this planet who likes Miles Morales more than they like Static Shock. Static Shock to me had a cool origin. Like, I think one of the things that makes a character good is they need a defining story. Now, very few characters, but Spider-Man, perfect example, is his origin is his defining story. Like that story, he gets the powers, his uncle dies, he could have saved the uncle and he doesn't, and he's on his path to villainy, and then he realizes his selfishness didn't cause his uncle's death, but indirectly was responsible for his uncle. That is Shakespeare. That is brilliant, and it gave a defined. Static Shock's origin was pretty cool. There was this like terrorist attack in a mass of people, and now a bunch of up. He was pretty cool, and then he kind of became his own thing, But like
terrorist attack, it was a gang war originally.
Yeah, gang war. That's right. They changed it to a terrorist attack where they rebooted them, and I got the origins mixed up. You're right.
Yeah, it was called the Big Bang, and it took place in a fictional city called Dakota, where all the people were.
I thought it was Seattle or something, but yeah, Dakota sounds right.
Dakota was the fictional, black urban center. But I got to say, those milestone characters, because it was spearheaded by, I'm going to forget, what is
Dwayne McDuffie.
Dwayne McDuffie. And he was a real talented guy.
And Dennis Cohen.
Yeah, two talented guys. So the characters, yeah, I avoided them at first because even before I knew about the term identity politics, I think I was like, I don't care because it's just black. You know what I mean?
Like, remember his original costume, John? He had a Malcolm X hat. Remember? Yeah.
So I didn't like Milestone, but then I started hearing such good things about it, and then I started to realize I liked Dwayne McDuffie and I liked Dennis Cohen. So I went back. They were good comics. The Milestone comics really is a shame that DC's not doing anything with them. You know, I wonder.
Actually, they are. They retconned continuity to make Icon the first Superman.
Right. That to me is, I don't like that because it depowers him. He's been around, like Icon, just like Blue Marvel over at Marvel Comics. Icon has a more of a history, whereas Blue Marvel they just made up and inserted and then retroactively said he was the best. But so you're a Superman level guy and you do nothing for most of history because because it would mess up real history. Like Icon was horrified by slavery, had the power to end it, but just chose to do nothing. It diminishes him as a hero. Like what they should have done is, okay, so he was around in biblical times or whatever time, and then he met like a dark side kind of guy who wounded him so bad that he was out of the picture and took 500 years to recover. You know what I mean? That doesn't diminish his hero. Like Blue Marvel just sat there and did nothing and complained.
Well, it would be interesting if like he was immortal, but he never got his powers until recently.
Yeah, you do something that makes it so that it doesn't diminish. Like to me, that's like being the president of the United States and then complaining about I don't like. Well, you're the guy to do. What are you telling me for? You're the guy. Go do it. You know what I mean? You're a senator. You're a congressman. You know what I mean? Like I said something on Twitter to somebody, and I was like, well, what are you going to do about it? And this congressman replied back to me, well, what are you going to do about it? I'm like, you're the guy. That's your job. I'm going to work tomorrow. I'm going to wire up an airport. What do you're going to go to work tomorrow. You're the one who's supposed to be doing this. What stupid answer is that? But anyway, back to Static Shock. He's got a cool name, Static Shock. He absorbs ambient static electricity. Since I'm an electrician, I'm kind of fascinated by this. And he does, as far as I know, pretty cool electrical stunts that do kind of make sense. Like you can use electricity, turn it to magnetism and float on, you know what I mean? So he's more than just an electrical shock guy. He can manipulate magnetism to a certain extent. I think he's a cool character, and as far as I know, I don't think he's got his due. I do think the best of him is yet to come. I
ain't sure about that one with the current people controlling DC, but
yeah, you might be right. Unfortunately,
well, we'll see how that ends because we don't know who's going to be controlling DC soon.
Right.
And if it's Netflix, we'll see Static again. It's just going to be a horrible version.
Well, I heard that Netflix, if they buy Static Shock, is going to be played by that Cynthia Enro from.
I thought Taylor Swift would make a good Static Shock.
Who?
Taylor Swift.
Oh, they're not going to turn a black person to Annie, but they're going to. What is one step lower on the or higher on the identity politics?
I just was joking. Don't come after me, please.
So the only way to go up is a bald lesbian. So
no, the Beyonder will be one eye, in a wheelchair, gay, mentally disabled, physically disabled, black female, and there has to be something in there to really bring in that ultimate power together.
Yeah,
like the lowest of the highest of the social.
My wife just came downstairs from shoveling the snow with the Santa hat on, face red, covered in snow. Again, the Canadian, that first snowflake hits the ground, her eyes explode with the Great White North powers activate, and she's cleaning the house, she's shoveling. She doesn't like the summer, but the winter activates her powers. So Static Shock is a great choice. I really like Static Shock. So Arkham, you got a pick?
Yeah, I do. There's several. There's a lot of characters I actually like, but I will go with pre 2012 or Storm has always been one of my favorite characters, primarily because of Chris Claremont. I love that you have a woman that grew up as a orphan, actually, in Africa, who stole every day to eat. She didn't have a orphanage or anything to go to. She literally lived on the streets. She had a weakness that the writers completely forgot about. She actually is a claustrophobic person. She cannot stand she's claustrophobic. You smother her, she freaks out. They nowhere in the writing anymore. It used to be part of her character.
Yeah.
She's always willing to help the other characters a lot, be the shoulder for people. If you read those earlier issues, like her with Jean, her with Logan, her with Kitty, she was always that motherly figure that I loved. And even when she lost her powers is when I really fell in love with her as a character. When she shaved her head and put the mohawk on, John Byrne work right there. It's just, I believe that's from the Moon when they were fighting the Imperial Guard, if I remember correctly. Once she lost her power is when her real character came out, right? And she everything that defined her, being African, long, beautiful, white hair, being a goddess, literally worshipped as a goddess at one point in time. She shaved her head, gave herself a mohawk, no powers, dressed as a punk rocker, and left everything behind and rediscovered herself. And that is one of her best storylines. Her and Forge's story was great. They were probably one of the best written couples in comic books.
Yeah, she is a great character. For those of you who don't know, Sundays at 10 Eastern Standard Time, I've been doing Sunday comics, and I've been doing the X-Men comics, the original new X-Men. I forget what issue I'm up to. I think 115, and I'm in the John Byrne, Chris Claremont, Terry Austin run. And to me, that is just the pinnacle of all comics. You see some great drawings of Storm. Nobody does it any better. Arkham is 100% right. Her weakness of claustrophobia, it really, really works considering because when she was a kid, her house collapsed and she was trapped under rubble, and it caused psychological trauma and blah blah blah. But it really works because it's a weakness that makes sense given she's the sky goddess, and then to trap her under the ground, and then what you were talking about when she lost her powers, I thought this was really cool. So she's connected to the earth in a very real way. She's the sky goddess, this earth mother, whatever you want to call it. And the X-Men went into space to one of their many space adventures. Back then, prior to issue 200, the X-Men were a superhero comic book that went on adventures. They once in a while it was a mutant, humans hate a story, but those were few and far between. Most of the time it was space adventures, demons, and fighting dinosaurs in the Savage Land, and all this cool superhero adventure stuff. And they went into space, and they were gone for so long that due to her special connection with the Earth, it damaged her. And when she came back to the Earth, she didn't have any powers. It changed her personality to more rebellious, and it made sense that she turned into this punk rocker. It was, I hated it at the time, but even at the time, I was like, it makes sense for something so traumatic to somebody like her. Great character.
I even loved it when her and Scott went at it. I believe that was actually the first appearance of Nathan Gray as well. Cable, X-Men 201. When her, if I'm remembering correctly, I am an old man. Excuse me. Yeah, her and Cyclops go at it for leadership of the X-Men, and she defeated Cyclops with no powers.
Yes. Yes, yes. And then she did the physical knife fight with Callisto of the Morlocks and became
Oh,
the
that was awesome too. Is that 211 somewhere around there? 210, 211?
one of
Did
the one of the things I liked about her is her being a mutant. You know, in the Marvel universe, being a mutant is scientific. That somebody confronted her and said, "Well, why don't you like stop all these droughts in here?" And she says, "I could do that." She goes, "But because I just manipulate weather patterns. So if I was to pull the moisture over here and have a storm, that's all the moisture in that area. You're not going to get rain again for a long, long time." And she's like, "I can't make it continuously rain. Like I'm pulling the water from here." She goes, "I'm going to damage the whole climate by using my powers too much." So like she could, pull all the moisture, make a storm, whatever, make a snowstorm, do whatever to fight Magneto. That's fine. But if she was to do it to the point of ending droughts and ensuring good weather, it's going to cause damage in the long run. And I thought that was just because think about it. In a world of superheroes, why is there any poverty? Why is there any harm? Why is there any evil? You know what I mean? It has to, as much as I love Superman, he's a guy who doesn't need to rest. He could see and hear anything he chooses. If anybody dies on Earth, Superman let them die. You know what I mean? Like he has to be limited, otherwise, it's kind of like anytime Superman's hanging out talking to Jimmy Olsen or pretending to be a reporter, it's like you're being selfish. There's people dying, and you know that, and you hear that, and the fact that you can sit there and pretend to eat sushi on a date diminishes you as a hero. Like that's why in the Donner film, when he goes back in time, I'm just like, oh, you're gonna go back in time when somebody you care about gets killed, but not somebody that I care about.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Something I didn't understand.
Right?
I never really liked. I'm sorry to say this, but I never really liked the Christopher Reeve movies.
Oh, I liked them. I liked them, but when you make a character super, super powerful, you got to put a limitation. So I like that Storm has this ultimate goddess power, but at least back then, I don't know now, she can't just solve all the hunger problems and things like that without A, killing her from the exertion, or B, making it worse in the long run because she's literally disrupting the climate. Whereas Thor, this is a guy, he could just create weather.
Right.
So why doesn't he solve the problem? Because he's a Norse god and he overcome an adversary, become, stamp out the weaknesses that kind of fits his character. But anyway, I'm sorry to talk so long about Arkham, but this is a fascinating character.
Speaking of powers with consequence, if you guys get ever a chance, they did it in the comic books, but for quicker reference, check out Invincible. Character Adam Eve, who has matter manipulation, like so many super powerful characters do. She thought that. She's like, I'm going to rebuild all these wells and infrastructures and buildings, help all these people. She has no technical knowledge. So she reconstructed everything as best as she could. Everything went to shit within weeks. I was like, that makes total sense. So she actually started studying architecture and plumbing and stuff like that. So she knows how to actually fix things with their powers now, instead of just put them back together and shove them
like
in.
Mr. Beast. Mr. Beast made all these water wells in Africa, and then when he left, they all fell apart.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah. And now they're mad at him. It's like, dude, I thought they invented everything. Yes, this is drawn by John Byrne and Terry Austin. I specifically Googled Storm as drawn by John Byrne. Any chance I could get to promote the John Byrne, Terry Austin X-Men, I will do. What's up, Tony? You raising your hand like you're in class.
Paul Dini actually addressed that. Do you remember in the early 2000s, DC released like tabloid-sized series of graphic novels illustrated by Alex Ross, written by Paul Dini. There was a Batman, a Superman, a Wonder Woman, and a Captain Marvel.
Yes.
Yeah, well, in the Superman one, which is my favorite out of the bunch, it addresses that. It's essentially Superman 4, The Quest for Peace, but done right. It's essentially Superman gets a wild hair up his ass to use his powers to help the world rather than fight robots. And what he does is he gets a bunch of grain and he takes it to Africa. And as soon as that happens, they shoot a missile at it and blow it up. Then he tries to help the people in China, and the Chinese government points weapons at him. And it's basically said that he can help anybody, but he cannot help the world because the world doesn't, it's much more complicated than that. The governments and whatnot. And I thought that was a nice way to illustrate it. Paul Dini is probably one of the greatest writers in comics, I thought.
That was Paul Dini, Alex Ross, those oversized. I love those. Yeah. There's 4 of them. There was the Superman, there was the Wonder Woman, Captain Marvel. Then they did a Fantastic Four and Superman.
No, they did the Justice League, and then they did that wonderful 12-issue Justice run, which was essentially the Super Friends when they were against the Legion of Doom.
Yeah. What's this count? Black Goliath is an underrated giant character. Giant characters are way heavier and stronger than. Yeah, I love Black Goliath. I'll talk about that, but Matthew has his hand up. What's up, Matthew?
Have you ever watched Justice League Secret Origin?
There was a cartoon called Secret Origin, or the Justice.
There was the movie that launched the Justice League animated series, was called
Justice
League Secret Origin.
Yeah, the first episode.
It starts out much like Superman 4: The Quest for Peace, where a whole bunch of people convince Superman to destroy all the nukes on Earth. But unlike that one, it has realistic, somewhat consequences for the DC universe. Soon after he destroys all the nukes on Earth, the Martians from the book War of Worlds realize Earth is defenseless and invade.
Right. And I like the way the Martians looked. That Justice League Unlimited, like you said, that's Paul Dini. So there you go. Paul Dini.
I just remembered one more I'd like to join.
Which one?
Saber. Does anybody remember that?
Saber?
What?
Yeah, that was the first independent comic graphic novel created in 1977. And it's essentially a black version of Mad Max.
Is that Mike?
That's the first title that Eclipse Comics, the first graphic novel, the first. So that's important. Not a lot of people remember him, but that is important for comics. So I'll throw him in there, even though I don't even know if I think he was a one-shot character.
No, Saber had his series, and I want to say that it was Mike Grell, but I'm probably wrong.
It was Don McGregor, and he's a black. He's got an afro, big old afro.
Right. I bought all of Saber, Aztec Ace, and Dreadstar. And I haven't read them yet. I got to read them. I like Dreadstar. I just read and Scout. For some reason, I put those in the same category. I just read Scout by Tim Truman.
I love the art in Scout. So that's some of the best indie art, man. I love it.
It is so good. Yeah, I know Galassi took over Saber. I think he took over a lot of these great comics. Eclipse Comics, First Comics. I've slowed down buying back issues, but at one point I was just like anything by First, anything by Komiko, and anything by Eclipse. I've just collected. Great. Those to me were the people like, what are the indie comics? Like, it's Image isn't indie anymore. Like once Amazon is putting out your cartoon series and, Dark Horse has got Hellboy movies. Those aren't indies anymore, but I guess they technically are, but doesn't matter. So you put up a good argument that Lothar is probably the first black superhero character.
Yes, he's like I said, equal, not a subservient, and he had arguably more, at least raw physical power than the main character. So yeah, he was the first. I'm trying to remember because I'm thinking back, like with the exception of obviously the Black Panther in 65, 66, some thereabouts. There really was no "quote unquote" black representation in mainstream comics. It was the Black Panther, and then I think it goes to the Falcon, and then I think it goes to who comes after the Falcon? When did Luke Cage,
Yeah,
and then Black Lightning, Storm.
as far as Black Panther was the first Black Marvel superhero. I don't know if DC had one, but I think Black Panther might even be the first, like, except for Lothar, because it sounds like, but Black Panther was kind of credited with as the first, but I think they mean the first Marvel, and then Blade came before. I think Blade came before
Blade. Mm-hmm.
Luke Cage was the first Black Marvel to have his own comic. And people.
When was Black Adam made?
Black Adam was.
So he's more of an anti-hero.
Well, he was a flat-out villain, and he was in the 40s, and he only had one appearance before.
And he was Egyptian.
Yeah, he was Egyptian. Yeah, he wasn't. I mean, he was brown, but he wasn't a black guy, But he was an Egyptian.
His name was like 10th Adam or something like that. His real name, 10th.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And he kind of looked like an elf in his first appearance. He was really.
He did he had the Namor. He pretty much looked like a Namor ripoff wearing
right.
Shazam suit.
And people do forget. Yeah, Spawn. Spawn is black.
Shadowhawk.
Walt Simpson.
Yeah. What does it say? I really like Deathlock, easily matched. Yeah, Deathlock is basically Black RoboCop, or Black Terminator, Luther Manning, right? That's his original.
Is Deathlock black? I thought
The second one. The second one was black.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I saw Deathlock when I was used to seeing him, and then years later it was like Deathlock's black. I'm like, wait, I thought he had blonde hair and blue eyes. Am I mistaken?
Well, there was two, because Rich Buckler made him in Astonishing Tales, and he was in the far future of 1992 or something like that. And this was in the 70s, and then they wanted to bring him into Marvel proper, so the original one was Luther Manning, and then they made Michael Carter. And Michael Carter, was the black one.
Gotcha.
I forgot. I don't remember what Luther, because he was like undead. He was kind of like, both of them had like grayish skin, and I remember them being bald, but I'm probably wrong as far as that.
Well, if I remember, the first one had like a really short buzz cut, like military.
And then Shadowhawk, the first black HIV afflicted superhero.
Yeah, that was his origin, right? I got AIDS in an experimental medicine.
Yeah, exactly.
That has got to be the worst superhero origin. What's your origin? I got AIDS. yeah, that is the worst. So
that reminds me of Metallo.
Metallo, he got AIDS.
He got some sort of incurable disease and replaced his body with a metal robot.
Right. Yeah.
Well,
I thought did you guys read the Hulk when what's his name? Not Bucky. God, he's been a sidekick for everybody. I'm trying to remember his name. Well, one of his friends has AIDS, and a supervillain tried to attack him and the Hulk, and he got sliced in the stomach, and like people were afraid to even bandage him because he had AIDS. Ended up dying like 2 or 3 episodes later in a hospital bed. And the cover is just a young black man in a hospital bed with a light over him. You guys?
Oh, was that Jim Wilson?
I'm trying to remember. It was a long time ago, and I remember reading it right off the stand. And I know
was that the one where the Hulk standing over a person in a bed with a red ribbon around him?
I don't know if there's a red ribbon around him, but he's dying of AIDS. It was.
I thought that was. I thought that was supposed to be She-Hulk's origin.
That was Jim Wilson.
Jim Wilson. Yeah,
Jim Wilson. That was the Peter David run.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's when Hulk was. I love Peter David's run. I liked it a lot.
Yeah.
Because I know She-Hulk was dying, or whoever she was before that, and the Hulk gave her some of his blood, and that's how she started.
You got it backwards. Bruce Banner was shot. They tried to kill Jennifer Walters, and Banner was shot. No. Jennifer Walters was shot. Yeah. And then Banner gave her blood, and that turned her into She-Hulk. Yeah. That was Savage She-Hulk #1. Stan Lee caught wind that they were going to make a female Hulk in the Lou Ferrigno TV series. And Stan Lee said, we got to make a She-Hulk first. Otherwise, they're going to own the character. if they're gonna make a character in a TV show, we gotta own it. So they rushed out She-Hulk, basically to snipe the TV show. And then the TV show never made the character. I don't know if the show was canceled or if they changed their minds or if it was just one of those writer room things, where they do a million ideas. So
they probably painted a girl up and said, yeah, this isn't going to work.
But you know what I mean? So they didn't do it, but I kind of liked She-Hulk, but she wasn't a good character until John Byrne took her over, if you ask me. Yeah. John Byrne put her in the Fantastic Four. That graphic novel, then the She-Hulk series, and I even like the Dan Slott series of She-Hulk, where they played up that she was a lawyer and they did superhero law. I thought that was funny. What's that, Matthew?
Sorry. Speaking of female versions of male heroes, have you seen the Supergirl trailer? I'm actually cautiously optimistic of it.
No, I didn't watch it.
Unfortunately.
I didn't watch it. Anybody in the chat, what do you think the She-Hulk?
I know a lot of people are saying that that Crypto being able to vandalize Superman's image is disrespectful and her attitude is negative, but I think they're just trying to differentiate her personality from Superman.
So I agree.
It might be completely a train wreck.
But this is the Tom King run that they're using for Supergirl. Tom King assassinates every character he writes.
I agree.
He writes them into the most depressing, self-indulgent, self-loathing individuals because of how he feels about himself. In every book, you want Mr. Miracle, Supergirl, anything Tom King touches,
he destroys.
Yeah, he's horrible.
Please tell me this isn't the one that went viral for Supergirl going to the bathroom and picking one of her blisters out, and an inhuman amount of blister sludge came out.
I
don't think so. I hope.
Because if that's the one, I ain't watching it.
Is this writer? Is he the one that's ex-CIA?
Yeah, he's the one that completely destroyed Adam Strange.
Yep.
Completely wrecked him. Did you guys ever read that version? Where
I refuse to read anything Tom King writes because.
My apologies. I don't know who Adam Strange is.
He flies around with the red suit and the jetpack and the gun.
The CIA's job is to psyop people. It's supposed to be our enemies to our benefit, but the CIA has always been the bad guys, and I just don't think that you stop being that. You got that profile, you got that skill set to just go in and mess things up. I think he's just doing it to DC. Like, I don't know if he's being paid by the CIA. I'm not going to be that. I mean, I am a conspiracy theorist, but I don't think like the CIA wants to mess up DC Comics, but you never know. I just think it's his personality you never stop that trait in you. He's just wrecking stuff because that's what he does. That's what the CIA does. They're coordinated. Yeah, sure.
When did X-Men come out?
1963.
Because I heard a rumor years ago the CIA supposedly started doing unethical tests on whether or not people can have powers.
Oh, yeah.
And I was just wondering, is that what X-Men was based on?
I don't know about that, but there's been
as they say, Stranger Things is based on that conspiracy.
Right, but I mean, I know that the Soviet Union was experimenting with like psychic abilities. The CIA was. There's a term for it that it's escaping me now, but that was going on in the late 50s. I know even in the early 50s, they were giving people LSD to see if they could have ESP and
MP Ultra.
They were also trying to see if people could actually, I think it's called scry, which is where you can see something without even looking at it from a distance. Like look at something, or I guess you could call it medium powers or something, where you can look at something someone owned and you can tell them what that person is currently doing.
Right. The stories of the CIA actually hiring scries one of them claims to have visited Mars 3,000 years in the past when there was a civilization. You know, there's a lot of. I love all that stuff. It's just great grist for superhero stories.
Yeah, and
one of his powers is he could scry.
And not to go to conspiracy theory, but I believe powers could exist. I just don't believe any of them could compete with a bullet.
Well, that's
in real life.
Unless you're Luke Cage. There was Old Dirty Fatty says there was a Batman panel in the last few years in which okay. I misunderstood when you said panel. I thought you meant like a panel in the comic book. But yes, there was a comic convention where Tom King was talking about his philosophy of writing Batman, and Frank Miller was horrified and then, schooled him. And it was basically you put yourself into the comic. Old Dirty Fatty, correct me if I'm wrong. But I think it was like you gotta bring yourself into the character, stuff like that. And Frank Miller was like, no, you don't. It's Batman. You gotta write Batman as Batman. You know, who you are shouldn't even be part of the character. Well, what Batman is supposed to be. That's what you write, not what you want Batman to be.
Well, that reminds me of a comic book or a book convention I went to. I think it was a comic book convention, but they had a how to write a book lesson panel you could go to, and I went to it, and one of the guys, I kid you not, said straight white men aren't something you should write about anymore. They're just not interesting. You should write about, and I'm like, excuse me, I'm autistic. I don't think it's right for you to take my experiences, sell them, and say this is just what it's like. And most of these adaptations of what they're talking about, they have no idea what they're actually talking about. They're just trying to.
You say, show me the rule. Where's the rule? That's your opinion. Like they say in The Big Lebowski. That's just your opinion, man. I told you my writing teacher in college, his name was Mr. Greco, believe it or not.
Really? What?
Yeah, my writing professor. His name was Mr. Greco. I'm trying to remember his first name was like Alberto or something. And we were talking about a girl in the class was talking about that. You should write about what you know and stuff like that. And he goes, yeah, write about what you know. He goes, but not write about what you are. He goes, I have a series of novels. Guess what I'm writing about? And you put everybody on the spot. I didn't want to raise my hand because I knew it was a trap. But it was like, you're Mexican, so it must be. He goes, no, I'm writing about Irish. He's writing about Depression era Ireland. And here's a guy, not Irish, Mexican, came to America, and he's writing, Depression era novels about Ireland. And he says, why? Because that's what I want to write about. He goes, that's what I want to. He goes, but I got to do my research. And his wife, he goes, I forget what he said. His wife, I think his wife was Welsh. She's writing about like something about from like Malaysia or something like that she's fascinated with. He goes, write what you want. And this girl was like, and it was funny because the same girl was talking about, you got to introduce love interest, and you don't write about the same old characters. And there was this really weird guy in the class. He was like, I'm not even joking. He was like 7 foot tall and like as skinny as my pinky. And he had this quick voice when he spoke up, and he just stood up and goes, so if I write about Chewbacca, he's got to fall in love. And we just laughed. He's in college and he's writing fan fiction about Chewbacca. But he was
Chewbacca falls in love with an Ewok.
Yep.
That'd be great. I'd read that.
Yeah. Don't get me started on Chewbacca. But anyway, Bronze Tiger, DC martial artist on par with Batman. I love the Bronze Tiger. I first learned about him in DC's because this brings us back to the top. I learned about him in Suicide Squad, the John Ostrander, Luke McDonald Suicide Squad. Guys, get those. They're only like $2 or $3 a piece. They are really good comics from one of the high points of DC. And
what was the series that? I'm trying to remember the miniseries that they debuted in. It was like a 6-issue limited series.
Legends.
That's right. That was pretty fun. I think I remember that one pretty well.
And Chuck Dixon wrote a series of like just it was like a I think it was a Richard Dragon, and it only lasted 6 issues, and it was basically a tournament, and they established the pecking order of the martial artists in DC, and surprisingly, Batman wasn't anywhere near the top. You know, they had Bronze Tiger, Richard Dragon, Lady Shiva, and I like it when Batman's not the world's greatest ass kicker. I talk about that. Miller had to remind him who Batman was and why you must respect the character. Absolutely. Which is why people will remember Frank Miller's Batman stuff till the end of time. And I think what's a Tom King Batman story? Does anybody know one? I can't think of one. I mean, I stopped reading DC in 2015, but any current readers, can you tell me a Tom King Batman story?
Isn't he the one I tried to get?
Now, refresh me.
Matthew, let somebody talk. Did
Frank Miller write All-Star Batman and Robin, or was that someone else?
But Matthew, you talked over Arkham when he was talking.
I'm sorry.
Arkham, what were you saying?
I was saying,
and your camera, fix your camera.
Oh, my camera's up there because I don't want to eat on camera.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It's dinner time over on the West Coast. What I was going to say is, brain fart. Oh, Batman was marrying Catwoman. I believe that was Tom King's.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
He had Catwoman leave him at the altar.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what I want to read.
Yeah, I'm like, oh my god. I'm sorry, Matthew. Go ahead, please.
Did Frank Miller write Batman and Robin All-Star or All-Star Batman and Robin?
Yes.
Is that Frank Miller, or was that what's his name? He does a lot of cosmic.
Frank Miller wrote it. Lee drew it.
What did Grant Morrison? Oh, it's, Batman Inc. It was Grant Morrison.
Yeah, he did All-Star Superman, which was
excellent, very good.
Yeah.
Probably one of my
I love
favorites.
All-Star Superman.
All right, so let's get this fight going. We've been talking for almost 2 hours. So, Tony, who are you picking as your champion?
I already told you he's got this 100 class 100 strength. Can't be harmed by any weapon made by man. Can't be magic, direct magic stuff will bounce off of him. You know, he can lift an elephant with one arm. I'm Team Lothar on that one.
Okay, Matthew, you taking Static Shock?
Yep, probably. Yeah.
Okay, Arkham, who are you picking?
I'm gonna stay with Aurora.
Okay, so and I'm taking Luke Cage. So, I mean, I was going to do something real racist to say that there's no more chicken at the Popeyes, and that's why everybody's fighting. But we'll skip that. So, everybody,
that's a real thing.
Yeah,
that is something to fight over.
And you know, so that there we go. But they're all fighting. Oh, I got to ask Lothar. He can't be harmed by any weapon made by man. Now, is that like literally like if a robot was to build a gun, he could be shot?
I don't think Lee Falk ever took it that way, but I think he meant like a knife, a gun, a spear. Right. Yeah.
Like Tolkien has like I'm no woman.
Exactly.
I love the last comment.
Yeah, would weapons made by women, children, or aliens work?
Possibly. Like you know, like what happened with what was the name in John Asgardian mythology? The gods went and Loki. Yeah, like they took an oath to like nobody could harm this one god, and the mistletoe didn't.
Right.
That was Boulder the Brave.
Yeah, there you go. So it could be. I mean, there is a work around it, but Lee Falk never. The comics I read about it never really went that route, but it would have been interesting.
Old Dirty Fatty has a good point. He says they overpowered Cage in the recent comics. Well, I haven't read the recent. Like I said, 2015 is when I stopped Marvel DC.
And you think they overpowered Cage? You should see what they had to do to Storm. She is just broken, stupid character.
To me, that is rookie writing. Making a character powerful, that's more powerful, doesn't make them a better character. It just
modern Marvel. As a modern Marvel and DC, it's a power creep competition, and every new writer has to, if they're in DC, they have to beat up Darkseid or somebody equivalent. And if they go into Marvel, they have to beat up Galactus or Thanos. They do that to every one of their new characters, and it's the dumbest thing in the world. Like Squirrel Girl beating up Thanos, Doctor Doom, and Galactus. Get the fuck out of here, please.
Yeah,
Sorry, language.
It ruins the character. Like, somebody told me when I was on a channel, I told the story a million times, that I made up a character, a superhero, and he could beat the Patriarch, he could beat Superman, he could beat everybody. I said, well, okay. I said, I'm Marcus always teases me because I always go, oh, that guy would beat the Patriarch, that guy would beat the Patriarch. But it's not the power level that makes the character interesting. It's how interesting the characters makes the character interesting. The stories, the dilemmas, the tension. So, like, to me, that's just rookie. We're gonna make Storm the greatest power because now you can't mess with the strong, powerful black woman. Well, that's not an interesting character. To me, Storm was so much more interesting when they were tunneling through the underground and she starts to freak out and she's dealing with it. It was
now she controls the cosmic storms of the universe.
Right. Yeah.
Like, get the fuck out of here.
So why are there any problems on Earth? You know what I mean? Like, there comes a point where, there should be no droughts. Earth should be perfect. Like Miracle Man did that. Tony, you must have read Alan Moore's Miracle Man.
Yeah, I even read the Neil Gaiman Apocrypha stuff. It was all right.
Yeah, I like these were super geniuses. They could solve all the problems, and they made Earth a paradise. And because of superheroes, there's no crime. There's not, you know what I mean? So, like, that's the end point of every superhero story. So unless that is the point of your story, when you introduce superpowers, technology, or something like that, as a writer of comic books or anything, you really got to think of the real world applications. Like the story I always tell it always comes down to role playing games, especially when you're the dungeon master. Don't give out magic items. That'll change the status quo of your game unless you're cool with that. Like we were playing.
Players will abuse it.
Yeah, because players will abuse it. We were playing Star Trek, the role-playing game, and my character was the captain of this ship. And it was funny because, like, we kind of made it like a little funnier. So my character was a conscientious objector in the Dominion War, who was a captain, and he was a pacifist. So, like, he shouldn't have been the captain. You know what I mean? That was the point. And then my friend's character was a Vulcan, but he had a glandular problem, so he went through Pon farr every 7 months instead of every 7 years. So we were playing that. But the point is, these aliens came and they released these triangles, and the triangles were like magnetic mines. They went on our ship, and they drained all the energy. So we were dead in space. We had to go out in spacesuits and physically remove them. We couldn't shoot phasers at them. Like, we had to use physical means to dispose of them. So I said, take a few of them, bring them in, and we had them like in like Kelvin zero, and we studied them, and then we used them against everybody else. And he was so pissed because it was like we used to say release the what did we call it? Release the why can't it release the leeches? Release the leeches. Because my character was a pacifist, conscientious, so it was a non-violent way to fight. And the GM was just furious all the time because he made them so powerful, and he gave them to us. Why wouldn't we do that? And then, like, I played my superhero game, and my friend's character, he was a Shadow Man, and he had all these darkness powers, and then also he could shoot a laser. So he was just out of this blackness, these lasers would come, and you'd just see his eyes, these lasers would come out. So he would defeat people, and he would take their equipment. And I'd be like, Spider-Man doesn't take Mysterio's costume and incorporate it into his uniform. That's not the way superheroes work. And he just couldn't get it because he had a D&D mentality. You know what I mean? So my point being is, you make Storm able to control the galactic storm. Why is there anybody starving on Earth?
All right.
Because now she could move a nebula into our area that could refresh the whatever magic science of the atmosphere and remove all the negative consequences of her power. Now, and of course, me being an anal retentive, that means that affects Spider-Man comics, and you know what I mean, and that affects. So all of these villains, like the Flag Smashers, who want global equality, they're defeated now because everybody has food in abundance. You know, and if you have food in abundance, you really don't need to go to work anymore if you're not going to starve. You know what I mean? Things like that. So think about that. You making Storm that powerful, it literally changes the nature of the Marvel universe.
I think they gave her Mjolnir now. I think she's the goddess of lightning now.
Of course she is, because she's black. You know, she's the black woman. And when she speaks, we should all listen. There was Lothar reminds me of Hancock, so if you drain magic, you would weaken Lothar long enough to defeat him.
Possibly. Yeah.
Maybe. But
I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Matthew.
While you're talking about overpowered characters, I'd have to say I actually love overpowered characters, but then again, as you can see from my back wall, I love Godzilla. So I'm trained to love overpowered characters. But like I said earlier, I didn't like the Christopher Reeve Superman movie, and that's because I didn't see Lex Luthor as a true threat to Superman. I think if you're going to have a powerful hero, you need a powerful villain.
Yeah, that was my, as much as I like Gene Hackman, I will defend the Donner Superman movie to the day I die. As it's what we needed to make movies accepted by the American public. But I
agree with what Matthew said. But Matthew, I don't think Superman was really the target of that particular Lex Luthor. I think the people around him were the target. It wasn't that he was a threat to Superman. He wasn't. He was a threat to Lois and the world around him. I think that was the issue.
And they also did he had a kryptonite medallion because anybody with kryptonite is a threat to Superman. And but I like the Lex Luthor in this new movie. He was a maniacal, jealous, petty, brilliant threat. He was more of a threat. I do really like the idea of a godlike character having a normal human as a, well, I guess Lex Luthor's not a normal human, but a non-powered human as their enemy. But anyway, let's get into this. This I wanted to bring up. Lothar reminds me of Hancock. So if you drain magic, you would weaken. Did anybody like the Hancock movie?
No.
It was okay.
It was entertaining for what it was. It was mid.
I liked it. But I really liked it. Remember when he was in jail and he was carving mindlessly with his fingernail into the concrete?
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember? Did anybody pay attention to what he was carving? Sumerian ruins. It clicked right then and there. He was Enkidu.
He was what?
I didn't wow.
He was
So
what?
he was supposed to be Greek.
No, he was Sumerian. He was Enkidu. So the sequel was going to have Gilgamesh.
Wait a minute. Wouldn't Charlize Theron have been
No, she was the woman that they released to seduce Enkidu to calm him down because he was causing all the destruction.
Oh, okay.
So the sequel movie was going to have Gilgamesh coming out, and they were going to fight over Charlie. You know what I mean? So I was like, this is the sequel to the Epic of Gilgamesh, and that's when I started to like it. They went about it backwards. Instead of introducing Gilgamesh, they introduced Enkidu. I thought it was clever. I liked it. Was it great? No, but it was. I liked it. But anyway,
it was worth the watch. I bought it on DVD.
Let's have this fight now. So Storm. So let's see. We got Lothar, Storm, Luke Cage, and Static Shock. I don't know why they're fighting, but they're fighting. So I don't know Lothar's personality, but I think I know the rest of them.
Strong silent type.
It's probably Luke Cage and him going at it, and Static and Storm going at it at first.
Right. The Luke Cage that I know. I mean, I gotta trust Tony when he describes a character. It sounds like Luke Cage doesn't have a chance, but
Got it.
But there we go. And I gotta say, Matthew, I don't think Static Shock is against Storm. She's too versatile. She's not just electricity.
Well, she's so much faster than everybody else.
Well, Static Shock is also pretty quick. I remember a few times he uses the electricity to like give himself like a burst of speed.
But, he usually rides on that manhole, but he flips over and jumps on it and uses the static to push the manhole around.
But I see him shoot. He shoots a lightning bolt at Lothar or Luke Cage. The worst it's going to do is singe their clothes. Storm shoots a lightning bolt at Static Shock. If you got electrical powers, you could disperse the electricity. You know what I mean? Like, to me, this is my way of thinking, guys. Let me know if you think about this. Static Shock has to be better with lightning than Storm because that's his only gig. Whereas Storm, she could control light, cold, air currents, and things like that. You know what I mean? So,
my argument.
What?
I will grant you that it won't be a lethality, but Static Shock has an extra power in his lightning. It's sticky. If he zaps you hard enough, you stick to walls.
Oh yeah, because it's static. I get that.
So therefore, if he was able to do it just right, he could paralyze all of them temporarily enough to call the police or whatever he needs to do and declare victory. That's the only way he would be able to defeat Luke Cage, at least.
I could see Static Shock. Like I said, to me, the specialist always has the open up. So I think since Static Shock's just electricity, he would be better. But Storm is more than that. So I could see this Storm going on. And as far as, Static Shock can fly too. So I see the fight going on. Storm takes off. Static Shock steps fight. Lothar and Luke just start pounding each other. What else are they going to do? They don't have laser beams. Neither one of them carries guns. So they're just knocked down, taking telephone poles and smashing each other. Just exactly what you want to see in a superhero fight. Just smashing each other with cars. Storm. Now, I think Static Shock will do a rookie mistake. So he starts firing lightning bolts at Storm. Storm can manipulate him, but now she uses the wind, and he's fallen to his, unconsciousness or whatever. You know what I mean? She's got the wind powers. And then here's where I think Storm has the advantage. She could do things subtly. She could do lightning bolts. I could see her firing lightning bolts. Luke and Lothar are fighting, but she manipulates the air. It gets cold, and she could make it so that as they're breathing out, the air pressure contains the carbon dioxide, and slowly they're all suffocating, and they don't realize it until like, I can't breathe. You know what I mean? I think somebody called it for Storm. I'm calling it for Storm. Now I'm not the boss over here, so I'm going to go down, and you guys tell me what you guys think. I think this is an interesting fight. So Arkham, since we'll go counterclockwise. How do you think this fight would go?
She is my nomination, so I'm not going to try to steamroll on that. I think range, speed, versatility, because her power set is quite large, is going to have her really hard to beat when you can't hit somebody back.
Right. Flight really is a tactical advantage. And I'm sorry to undercut you, but Static Shock could fly in a way or levitate. But when she controls the winds, I think she has the, but
she controls the air.
I'm sorry I interrupted you. As you can see, the coffee has kicked in, and I apologize. Go ahead.
No, you're absolutely on the same mindset that I was at. When you're in the air, she literally controls the airflow. So you're trying to fly towards her. She's pushing you away. And you might be flying 60 miles an hour at her. She's pushing at you at 60 miles an hour. You're not doing anything. You're flying sitting there. She's like, yeah, that's cute.
And it's hard to breathe when there's a hurricane in your face.
Yeah. Who did she if I remember correctly, she specifically defeated somebody with a hurricane sucking all the oxygen out, and they couldn't breathe and they just collapsed.
I think that was George Floyd.
No, that was an OD. We all know that. But that was pretty good.
to go on a weird tangent, whenever we do Superman versus the Hulk, I always say you guys are underestimating the tactical advantage that Superman could fly.
Yeah,
Hulk jump,
very much so.
but Superman could control his trajectory and everything. And if you could fly, Storm could control your trajectory. Maybe not. Like I think somebody like Superman, Storm loses that advantage. But I think Static Shock has a. Oh, I didn't know that Static Shock has a weakness to water.
Oh.
Does
Well, I was going to argue Storm could use ice. What just
okay,
hail
go
off
ahead,
the
Matthew.
static.
It's your turn. You tell us. You tell us your fight now.
I think Storm would use either ice pellets or like hail or possibly rain to depower Static. Realistically, Static's only chance would be to sap her with static enough to paralyze her temporarily, then stick her to a wall. But whether or not that happens is iffy.
Right.
Well, this is. I'll. Do you mind, William? Sorry, William. Matthew, not William. Matthew, do you mind if I interject on Static side? I would give
That's
this to
fine.
Static. Everybody knows Static is a gentleman. He's nice. If he played that role to sneak attack Storm before she can get off, he can get that win. You know, shake
He can
hands.
also pick up objects with his electricity and slam them at people.
Right.
Yeah.
He could kind of make magnetic, but could he stand against Lothar and Luke Cage though?
Luke Cage, I'm not sure unless he, like I said, froze them in place and waited for the authorities.
Yeah, but I think you put Luke Cage against the wall. He just smashes the wall and comes out, maybe with pieces of brick still stuck to you.
And yeah, he'd walk off at the wall
Not
on him.
enough, you have to surrender.
So Matthew, who you calling this fight for? Who do you think?
Honestly, still think Storm could win against Static if Static were not lucky enough to land that one good hit.
And Marco, who did you call?
I called Storm, but I did give a Static that if it was a sneak attack.
And of
And
course, the caveat: the writer could always make whatever they want, prep time,
Right.
stuff like that. You know what I mean? All that stuff. So, Tony, what do you think?
In a fight between Storm and Static, it has to be Storm. Not only her multitude of abilities.
Well, this is the grand battle.
Oh, the grand battle.
Okay, then it would have to be Storm and Lothar. I do.
What it comes down to Storm and Lothar? You think?
I think it would come down to Storm and Lothar actually, because Storm is like outside of her power, she's a master of unarmed combat. That lady can fight very, very well. So I think it would come down between her and Lothar. I'm just trying to think, how would that go between her and? I think Storm could overwhelm Lothar, and the fact that you can go around that whole thing. It reminded me of the Witch King, John. Remember where no man can kill me, and then she takes off her helmet. I'm a woman, and no, you know what? You're the Lord of the Rings person more than me. The only reason that lady was able to kill one of the Witch Kings was because she was a woman, or something like that. So
Yes and no.
Do you want the full explanation, or do you?
I was going to get into it too, John.
I don't know. But I'm saying maybe the fact that no weapon forged by man, you could skirt around that by having a woman wield it, or a woman, I don't know. I mean, that's kind of an odd one for me. I really don't know. I'd have to give that to you, John.
To my way of thinking, is he immune to cold?
He's practically Superman. He's Black Superman.
Right.
He can't fly, and he doesn't have like super growth or anything, but he's Black Superman.
Does he need to?
That's what I was thinking. What if Storm started a blizzard?
Right.
I don't think the cold could harm him. Like I said, he's completely invulnerable.
Right.
Like
what everybody says, Wolverine, he regenerates. You freeze Wolverine and then drown him, and there he goes. There's nothing you can do.
Mm-hmm.
chain
Until he
him up,
falls out and swims out later on.
chain him up, throw him in you don't regenerate against drowning. So if Lothar needs to breathe, then Storm will win.
Then that's probably the way to go. Then I
doesn't-
guess you're right.
Suck the oxygen out of the air.
And there's no way to beat him, and then I just don't like the character. You know what I mean? If there's no way to beat him, then there's. But I never heard of the character, so I can't impose any rules.
Like if he had absolute super strength like tonnage, I can see ways that, like picking up parts of the ground and throwing them at Storm or flapping or doing something towards that nature. We'd have to see more of a power set for him to really justify that.
Well, that's what I'm saying. He's going with Luke Cage, and they're going toe to toe, while Storm subtly is manipulating the air, and so that it's all carbon dioxide in the air, and they all pass out. That's to me as I see how Storm sneaks in a win. What's up, Matthew?
Oh, someone just pointed out that Luke Cage has metal in his body, so therefore that's a weakness Static could exploit if he wanted to.
Right. He wears the metal tiara, or at least the original version, and he wears the chain belt, and he has the metal gauntlets. Yes, so he could shock himself, but he's totally invulnerable.
Oh,
Yeah,
I want to see metal.
Right.
If I remember
so
correctly,
electricity might go through
Oh,
it.
so Static could use magnetism or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
if I remember correctly, Static's electrical discharge isn't that powerful. It's powerful,
Oh, it's
but
not.
it's not like he's not going to touch Darkseid or any of the
He's not
upper
Magneto.
echelon.
Oh, because there was a story where Static zapped a guy made out of rubber so hard that his rubber skin couldn't even protect him from Static's electricity.
Right. Rubber it's like
It's just not a conduit.
I'm actually writing a story where a scientific hero defeats an electrical-based villain to show people how to properly defeat an electrical-based villain. You don't just throw water on them; that should do nothing. Unless you write it in as their weakness is. But if you're going by real electrical, go throw water on an open bus duct. If anybody knows what that is, a copper. If you got copper charged, like the electrical panel in your house, it has copper bars. You throw water on that, that's not going to explode. What will happen is, if you touch the water will shock you. If the water
Japanese zap.
if the water crosses, if you have one electrical bar and you put water on it, you're just going to have electrified water dripping. And as soon as the water breaks from the copper, it's normal water. If you have three copper bars, like if you have a three-phase house and you splash water on it, then you're gonna have an arc fire because you have two phases actually touch. That's the problem. But if you're generating electricity, it's only one phase. This is real silly electrical terminology. But anyway.
I just thought of one thing. Where does Storm get her powers from?
She manipulates it in the air, so there's ions in the air and everything like that. So I can see
Static couldn't theoretically consume that electricity.
No, I forgot. So I could see Storm manipulating Static's electricity because that's what she does. She manipulates existing ions and things like that. But this is what I was saying about your rubber guy. If I was to fire electricity at a rubber tire, it's going to be insulated and safe to a point, but insulation warms up. So if you have copper wires in your house, they have insulation on the wires. Now you have circuit breakers in your house. If those wires get too hot or they get too much electricity through them, it sets the circuit breaker off for the stop. Now we all heard stories of some jerk taking a penny, like back in the old days when they had fuses. You can't do this anymore. People would take the fuse out and they would stick a penny, stick it in there, and then flip the brake, flick the power on. But that penny, being an old copper penny, it wouldn't. A fuse, when a fuse gets overpowered, it burns and breaks. It breaks the electrical circuit. So it goes like this. It burns and breaks. Boom, it stops the electrical flow. Everything turns off. A penny takes so much electricity before it melts, the house actually burns down. So what happens is the electrical insulation will heat up and burn. So your rubber guy, he will deflect and absorb electricity to a point, where he'll get so hot the rubber will actually go on fire. There you go. So there you go. I don't get to show off electrical knowledge every once in a while. So I don't know. It seems like we got 4 people calling it storm, unless Tony's calling it for Lothar.
No. For what you told me about manipulating, taking the oxygen and whatnot, I would say for Storm, because the way Lee Falk wrote Lothar, it was more of a Mandrake adventure than Lothar. So I can't really. He didn't really show me any of the variables from that character. So I would have to give it to Storm. And before I forget, how did that lady beat the Witch King?
Okay,
so give me a brief version of that.
Okay, so the Witch King, he's called the Witch King of Agmar. He became a ruler in his own right. During when Sauron was dead, the Witch King was the bad people. Remember, first there was Morgoth, and then when Morgoth was gone, it was Sauron, and then when Sauron was gone, it was the Witch King. He is really bad if you read it. But to make a long story short, there was a kingdom called Arthedain, and the kings of Arthur, there was Arnor and Gondor. Arnor got defeated, broke up into 3 kingdoms, and Arthedain was the one that was constantly fighting with Agmar. So it was the good guys versus the bad guys. They had sorcerers, and they made weapons ensorcelled to specifically fight wraiths. And they had a prince, and they made daggers, and these daggers were enchanted to fight wraiths. Now Glorfindel, an elven lord, one of the more powerful beings he was so powerful that when he showed up in battle, the Witch King fled and left that part of the world for the.
I think he was the most powerful mortal ever to walk in.
Well, he was an elf, so he wasn't more. He actually died and literally
wasn't Valar or Maya.
Right, he came back, so he was an elf. He was so powerful when he showed up, the Witch King fled, and Glorfindel said he can't be killed by man. And what Glorfindel basically meant, it takes a powerful elf to kill him.
So you saw the movies, right, Tony?
Yeah. So, but she wasn't an elf, right?
But here's what happened. So they left this out of the movie. So the hobbits, they leave the Shire, and they get attacked by these Barrow-wights, undead spirits, and then they fall asleep in these tombs, in these wights. These are mounds, and they open up the doors and they find mummies in there and treasure and stuff, and they go to sleep to protect themselves, and they wake up and these monsters start attacking them. Tom Bombadil saves them. And when he saves them, he whistles, and the monsters run away. He's overpowered, and he goes in and he takes all the gold and treasures out, and he gives all the hobbits a knife. These knives were made for the princes of Arthedain. They were enchanted to kill the Witch King. Mm-hmm. So now in the movies they had Galadriel give them the knives. So this is why can't I think of her name now? Erwin. Mm-hmm. She is facing down the Witch King, and you remember Merry stabs him in the knee.
I remember that. Yeah.
And then when he stabbed him in the knee, he reels back in pain, holding his hand while his hand's on fire. You see the smoke.
Stabs him in the knee. The knife, the enchantment of the knife breaks the enchantment of the Witch King. He now becomes vulnerable, and then Erwin kills him.
And it wasn't because it wasn't through the power of super femininity.
No,
it was because the Hobbit started it and she finished.
What happened was she takes.
That's lame.
In the book, he goes, "No man can kill me," and she goes, "I'm not a man."
Yeah.
And the Witch King actually gets stunned for a minute. He's thinking, "Is this a loophole?" Like, you know what I mean? He caused his own death by thinking. He's like, "Wait a minute, like." Is this going to work? And then that gave Merry the chance to stab him in the leg, and then he was reeling in pain. And Erwin killed him.
Yeah,
that reminds me
of no man times 2.
What's that?
A hobbit and a woman, so it was no man times 2.
Right. Well, hobbits are considered men. They're diminutive men, and they all become men
eventually. Yeah.
Yeah, but because whatever. But that's that's why it happened. It's not because she's a girl. It's because, but it doesn't diminish her. She still kills the
She's a
witch.
badass.
She still fights.
I'm glad in the director's cut they put in Faramir and her, because in the theatrical cut, that was one of the things I was really disappointed in, is they didn't connect Faramir with Eowyn.
Right. They end up getting married in the book.
Yeah. And because there's a lot that happens after Lord of the Rings, a lot of characters gain their own lands and stuff like that, and how they form. And
there's a whole movie that they left out. The Scouring of the Shire is a whole movie.
Yeah. Yep. And then the reconstruction of Middle Earth, and then my favorite ending of Lord of the Rings has to be Gimli and Legolas. They go adventuring for another 200 years, and then Gimli starts dying of old age. So Legolas builds a boat. Doesn't even ask God. Takes his dwarf brother with him to the Undying Lands.
Right.
And they look at him and go like, yeah, he's right. He belongs here. The only dwarf ever allowed into the Undying Lands was
Gimli. Yep. Gimli goes into the glistening caves behind Helm's Deep and forms his own dwarven colony, and then Legolas takes him into what they call Gleamwood again, and show they show each other, and they just hang out for the rest. Like, to them, back in the Cimmerillion from the killing of a Thingol, I think it was, one of the Elf Kings. Dwarves and elves didn't get along, so this is like literally 6,000 years of a rift was healed between them two. It's a big, which drives me nuts in the Hobbit movie when they have that made up elf girl, as cute as Evangeline Lilly is, to have her, and it undermines Legolas and Gimli's.
It does, absolutely.
It just undermines the importance of their friendship.
Well, that and undermined the character of Legolas, who should never have been in that movie anyways. Well, maybe a cameo. That's it.
He could have been, because his father was
True.
Elf King from the Hobbit.
Did they ever explain why the elves and the dwarves don't like each other?
Yeah,
is there like a reason for that?
Well, when the elves were the first children of Iluvatar, but the elves knew that there was going to be the second children of Iluvatar, the men. And then one day, dwarves showed up. They were not part of the plan. They were made by Iluvatar, the one god created elves. They were first, and basically, what the elves were, these powerful beings. I think, this is my fan fiction, that they were there to basically protect the earth for humans, because the elves eventually they were like temporary keepers, whatever.
Correct. And the dwarves themselves, if I remember correctly, you can correct me on this, John, they were forged by the AR that was the god of Forge. I forgot his name.
Ole.
Ole. And that he was busy forging the world while they were singing it into existence. He didn't get to participate.
No, he was there. Because they all sang,
right?
Created, then they all came, and he wanted to teach. He couldn't wait for students.
Oh, that's right.
He got impatient, and he took stones and he carved stones and once you leave the spiritual realm and come to the earth realm, it's like trying to remember a dream, even for the gods. So he was trying to picture what elves and humans look like, and he got it wrong, and he made dwarves. So, like, I drew this guy from memory, and it's always a goofy looking. So dwarves were goofy looking
all the time.
Whatever. So he made the dwarves, and then he turns around, and Iluvatar is there going, "What are you doing?" And he's like, I, and he goes, "These aren't alive." He goes, "They don't." He goes, "Only I have the spirit." You know when Gandalf says, "I am a servant of the secret fire."
Yeah.
I'm a will. Yeah, that is secret fire is the ability to create life from non-life. He goes, "Only I have that ability." He goes, "These aren't alive. These are mindless automatons. When you're not thinking about them, they're going to stand in the corner." He goes, "Is that what you want?" So Aule picks up his hammer to kill them, and because Aule is thinking about them, they're all crying, and Eru said, "Okay, I'll animate them. They're alive. Don't do this again." But the elves have to wake up first. So he scattered them into 7 different locations, a male and a female dwarf. So there was 14 original dwarfs. and then they woke up, and oh, so why do they hate each other? So anyway, so the elves didn't know anything about the dwarves, and the elves divided up the world into things that could speak, Quenya, and things that don't speak. Not, I forget what he said. So anything that didn't speak was animal. And as far as they knew, only humans and elves spoke. And orcs also spoke, but they were corrupted elves. And then they saw these dwarves, and they thought they were animals, so they exterminated them. They literally, there was a group of elves called the petty elves. They were like gypsy elves. They were kicked out of all 7 tribes, so they formed this 8th tribe of basically criminal dwarves that were like, riffraff, and the elves exterminated them. And so all the rest of the dwarves were like, we don't like elves. And then the elves started hearing them talk, and they're like, what did we do? So they were like, we kind of just did a bad thing. Don't talk about this. So they got off on the bad foot for doing that. And then they realized that the elves were great at crafting. So they hired the elves. Now the dwarves, remember in Harry Potter, goblins, whatever a goblin makes is theirs. So like they claim the swords and stuff like that. The dwarves were like that. So they got the Cimmerals, and then King Thingol took one of the Cimmerals and he put it into a necklace, the Nalgrimir. And the Nalgrimir was the most beautiful thing that the dwarves ever created, and they gave it to Thingol. So Thingol takes it, gives it back to the dwarves, and says, put this Cimmeral in it. So they do it, and then it's just the thing, like the Arkenstone, the ring, the Cimmeral, anybody who sees these objects just wants them. They never want to give them back. So they're just like, this is so beautiful. We're not going to waste this on a dwarf. So Thingol is like, he's watching them doing it. They're like, what do you mean you're not going to give it back to me? He's like, I'm paying you for this. He goes, you're ripping us off. Look how valuable this is. Blah, blah, blah. They get into a fight. Thingol tries to pull it back. They kill him. So now the dwarves are like, uh-oh, we just killed the Elven King, the most powerful king in all of Middle Earth. So they start to flee. Somebody finds out what's going on. They're stealing them in Algrimir. They kill all of them. Then the other dwarves are just like, oh, there's nobody to convey the true story. So now the other dwarves are just like, oh, we sent these guys over there, our best tradesmith, to make this Nalgrimir. You keep the Nalgrimir and killed all the dwarves and don't pay them. So now the dwarves go to war with the elves. And they just go back and forth. Ever since then, 6,000 years, they just don't trust each other.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, and then literally that's why they're fighting. That's why the Legolas' father, he has post-traumatic stress, PTSD. He has that. His father was the elf king that was the King Orodreth. He was the king that went into the last alliance of elves and men, where they cut Sauron's finger off and Isildur took the ring. But he was a little arrogant, and he charged, and Glorfindel and Isildur and everybody else and the Númenóreans were like, we're not ready yet. And they went off, and Sauron slaughtered them all. And he was killed. Orodreth was killed, but his son Thranduil survived and became the king of the Dwarf. And those dead elves were the faces of the dead marshes. So they were all Legolas's uncles.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. I remember the Marsh of the Dead thing. Yeah, that was cool. Yeah, I didn't know that.
So Thranduil made himself back, and he was just like, I'm never going to war. Like I kind of feel bad for him. He didn't trust anybody. He literally went into war, and everybody was slaughtered and killed, and he was one of the few survivors, of an immortal race of beings that can't die, and now everybody's dead. And he goes back into Gloomwood, and he's just like, we're never doing that again. So he kind of gets a bad rap. And then these dwarves come walking through that they hate dwarves, and so he traps them, and you know what I mean? So it's really, I love the Lord of the Rings. It's so intricate. I love all the intricacies and nuance. That's why I get so mad when people disregard continuity.
That's like one of the things that draws me in. Like right now, I'm very fortunate. I didn't watch a lot of shows that caught early in the 2000s because I was too busy watching other things and doing my own stuff, creating shows actually. I finally got to sit down and watch Deadwood. Holy crap. And that's a perfect example of writing that has many, many layers that you can get into and dig. If some doesn't have layers that you can't get into the mud and start digging into stories, I hate just words people are saying like modern Star Wars and Marvel, just joke, funny, explain scene, next. That's garbage. I hate that. Give me stuff to chew on. Good dialogue, history. I love
Deadwood
that.
is so dense. I must have I watched it, and then when my wife first moved in with me before we got married, we started watching Deadwood, and she hated it because of all the cursing. But I think by about 4 or 5 episodes in, she was hooked, and she went and bought the DVD. So we got all the DVDs. It's funny. I'll go upstairs, and she's upstairs, and it's like cocksucker. I'm like, oh, you watching Deadwood?
That's like probably the main word in Deadwood is cocksucker. Yeah,
but it is so good, and like
the acting,
like it's one of those shows you really have to put in the work. I gotta say though, the third season,
it's a little dry.
The whole subplot with the actors come to town, I could care less about that. And
I
then
agree.
And then when they didn't finish the 4th season, oh my god, that drives me crazy.
Well, they did the movie, right?
Yeah,
before.
But they did the movie just to have a closure. But did you notice that every episode of Deadwood is 24 hours long? It's one day.
I didn't get it. I haven't watched the movie yet. I'm on season 3, episode 11.
In the TV series, every episode is one day.
And that makes sense the way it's written, because there's not always a punctuation mark in the last of the episode. Most TV shows end with a punctuation mark. This Deadwood ends with a period. You're like, it's very somber ending for that episode. You're like, well, nothing happened at the end of that episode. I'm like, yeah, because it's in the day in the life of. Well,
it was going to be, the last episode was going to be that the territory is recognized as a state, and then they become part of the United States. But I'm just so mad that they didn't finish it. Like Powers Booth died, so they couldn't finish up his story. But what a son of a bitch Hearst was, huh?
Oh, they wrote him. That was a great villain. I mean, the way you got to think all 3 who were villains at one time. You got AJ or Al.
Swarrington.
Yeah, and the banter and the chess game between all 3 of them, while the rest of the town's just waiting almost in anticipation for what chess move's going to be played first. I love that.
Yeah, it was matter of fact, Hearst in that is the inspiration for Philip Manning, the character, the bad guy in the Mary Sue story. Like he physically looks like him. He's based on it. Of course, he's not as well written as what's his name, Mitch. I can't remember the guy.
The actor?
No, the guy who created the show, Mitch something.
Oh, I forget.
But anyway, I'm gonna get going, guys. We've been talking for 2.5 hours. Oh, before we go, so next week it'll be New Year's. So what should we do? Should we do just talk about all the past It's Clobbering times? Should we do
how about this? Our best favorite nerd stuff from the past year, either comic books, movies, or anime, maybe one of each. And then what we're looking forward to see next year.
Okay, it's Clobbering time. What is your favorite comic that you read in the past year? Okay.
All I've read is old stuff.
What's that?
I said all I've read is old stuff. I don't read new comics anymore.
Well,
bring a new story.
If that's all right, so we'll see you guys next week.
Bye, guys.
Happy New Year, everybody.
Wait, is Oscar still here?
I don't know. He hasn't responded.
Oh, okay. I was going to try to show him a panel and see if he wants
message him on Twitter. He responds really quick.
Oh, yeah, we'll do.
He just sent me a page, so he's around.
Yeah, that's right.
All right,
cool beans.
So,
all right, guys.
All right, so guys, we'll see you. Bye, kids.
Goodbye, kids.